rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it.
Oh, yeah. You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy, MJ. Welcome to Trap Talk with MJ. What is good, everybody? If this is your first time tapping in, before we get started, hi. What's up? What are you into? That's cool. Well, you're into a really fucking, you're in for a good show. Let's just say that. All right. Now, before we proceed, please hit the subscribe button, like button. I'm cool with the dislike button, and drop a comment. Let me know how you like the show. Let the guests know how you like the show. Any feedback is welcomed, man. What up with my early birds? I see the early birds up and jumping, man. Thank you for being here. Now, you guys know what the deal is. For the best, freshest, and bestest delivered to your doorstep, that's that 100% real deal, cold-blooded cafe. God damn, I am taking forever with this because I'm doing it this route. But here we go, man. This is where you need to go when it comes to your rodents. $30 flat rate shipping straight to your doorstep. You will not be disappointed. They always have the best sales. But not only that, when you get these, when you get these frozen thawed animals to your fucking doorstep, you see how professionally packed they are. And they're on a good diet, all sorts of good stuff. So basically, whatever it is that they're feeding these rats that are so good for them, it's going to be good for your snake. Plain and simple. Shout out to Cold Blooded Cafe. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Desiree. The whole team. You guys are amazing. And then shout out to John and Alex over at Sim Containers. A lot of great eggs hatching this season, man. I see a lot of people killing it this year. And I also see so many people putting their eggs inside of a Sim box. Okay, so I highly suggest you guys head over to Sim Containers website and check out their extra large Sim Containers. And there's, I don't know, I guess it's an extra small. I'm not too sure. Let's find out. But, yeah, go check them out. Sim Containers, definitely the truth. Definitely, proven fact that your eggs will hatch with no issue inside of a Sim box. So shout out to John, shout out to Alex, and then shout out to Jesse, the whole Freedom Breeder crew. Major things happening over at Freedom Breeder. I can tell you right now, man, if you have a Freedom Breeder rack, you understand that you are on that level of professional snake breeding or rat breeding, whatever it is that you're choosing to do. But Freedom Breeder racks are the shiznit. I love them. And yeah, if you have them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want to talk about the shiznit, shout out to Focus Cube Habitats, Ashley and Steven over in Texas, doing major things. Their enclosures are so damn clean. And another example, if you have these enclosures, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The hinges are great. Nothing's flimsy on these. They're perfect. I love them. And I got so much more coming from Ashley and Steven over at Focus Cube Habitats. So please go follow them on Instagram. Head over to the website. See what they got going on, and make sure you don't get slept on when it comes to PVC built enclosures, because like I said, they're the shit. Let's see. Oh, wait. I got to keep switching these over. God, see? Hold on. 1 second. I'm fucking up. All right. So now, what did we just do? Now I'm all over the place. All right. Well, without further ado, you guys already know, shout out to Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons, always killing the game. Thank you so much, bro, for sponsoring the podcast. You are the truth, man. If you guys don't follow Miguel yet, I highly recommend you do, Because if you're new to this game and you like to be inspired, or you like to see what's happening, like what's the 401 on like what the sick shit that's been breeding in the ball python game, well, this is your man. Not only the guest that we have on, but this guy right here as well, Miguel Garcia, always evolving pythons. Shout out to the homie for supporting the trap. And yeah, man, always a day one homie. Greatly appreciate your support. And let's see, man. And then, dude, next week, another reason why I'm excited for this week's episode is because next week is Daytona. So shout out to everyone who's about to roll to Daytona. Daytona is going to be a sick ass time. It's going to be my first time rolling through. But I know a lot of you like OG Daytona attendees are fucking definitely going to be stoked for this show. And that's for a fact. Is this the right link? I hope it is. Yeah, here we go, baby. Daytona, August 21st and 22nd. I will for sure be there Saturday. You can catch me there, fucking doing my thing, and I will be at the auction watching motherfuckers go ham. And I wonder who's going to get the staff. Could it be Bob Vu? I don't know. I don't think Bob Vu could go staffless for that long, but let's find out. Eventually, we're going to find out. But yeah, man, that's going to be a sick ass time. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, man, best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, mjexoticscartal. Go give me a follow. Hit me a DM if you have any questions. Go follow the podcast's page, Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. Shout out to all my Twitch viewers. I feel like I'm getting more Twitch viewers. I'm seeing that. That's what's up. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. You guys are real ones. And then TikTok, whatever. I just forgot to remove this shit from the thumbnail. So still got it. It's just I'm not posting shit. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about TikTok. I'm on that Kanye West shit right now with that TikTok. I'm back and forth. But anyways, one thing I'm not back and forth on is my Patreon page. My Patreon members, my day ones. Thank you so much for the support. Now, I will say out there, if you are looking to support this podcast further than a subscription, and you also want to be a part of a really awesome community and learn more about animals, more than ball pythons, but, you know, a lot about ball pythons, green tree pythons, boas, you name it, you're going to want to go down to the link below, click on the Trap Talk Patreon page link, and join the Patreon page, man. Come join the family. I appreciate any support I get. But like I said, I'm building a really awesome community. There's a Discord, a lot of information going back and forth. You won't be disappointed. And I also give 411 tips on what's happening with Trap Talk with MJ, because, dude, this shit is about to blow up even bigger. I got so many things in store. And yeah, Patreon members are the first to hear it before anything, man. And they're the first to get in line for all my hatchlings that I hatch out. Yada, yada, yada. Just join the Patreon page and you know exactly what I'm talking about, man. But shout out to all my supporters. You guys are amazing. Love all you guys. Shout out to all my early birds. I know a lot of you guys are excited for this episode, as I am. What up with HB Reptiles? How you doing, my man? That's a Patreon. Trap Patreon homie right there all day. This is family all day. Jason Holbrook, my homie. Jay the Barber. That's my boy. How you doing, Jay? We got Canada in the building. Cascade Critters. The Cowboy, the Mushroom Cowboy. Harry, what is good? Thank you for being here. JW family, how are you? 1776, Patreon homie, all day, every day. Julio, what is good? I hope you're ready for a great show. Cat Church, that's what's up. How you doing, Cat Church? Ball Morphix, how are you? Hope you're ready for a great show. Who else is in this? Oh, Patrick, what's up? The homie Patrick, Patreon homie right here. Chad 2, Patreon homie all day. I love all my Patreon family members. Joe, what is good, Joe? Hope you're ready for a good show. Damn, I was going to end it, but I can't stop. I cannot say hi to the homie Wiz Constrictor. Follow my man Wiz Constrictor. Follow my homie Kevin, another Patreon homie, Tyler King. And we're going to end it at Brandon Wheeler, because Brandon Wheeler is an amazing scrub python, carpet python breeder locally from San Diego. That's my boy. He also, I'm trying to get this guy to post more stuff on YouTube, because he does have amazing content. Follow my boy Morelia House. Love you, Brandon. All right. Round 2 with Bob Vu. I'm excited for many reasons. Just because, you know, you never know what we're going to get out of Bob, right? He's an open book. He ain't scared to talk about shit. But I have so many questions about things, you know, Daytona stuff and, you know, just other stuff, you know, and I know he's down to talk about some stuff too, but he's tapping in right now in the flesh. Bob Vu of Bob Balls with a shaved head. I feel like you lowered it up top. Little like a buzz cut a little bit.
Little bit.
Looks good.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Good deal. Yep.
Cool. How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man.
Thanks for being here. Oh, sick. Are those available?
Yeah, we just got tank tops in, and I'll have shirts down in Daytona.
So Daytona, how you feeling about it? Let's talk about it. Daytona right off the bat. That's
so yeah. I mean, that's gonna be the topic, right? Since Daytona's next weekend. last Daytona was kind of strange, right? Because we had the COVID. It was like the first major show after COVID since
Right.
Tinley got canceled.
Right.
So we're expecting this one to be huge. I did get word that we will have a mask mandate, so you will have to wear a mask inside the show. Florida and Georgia has been maskless. Like no one wears masks in these states for the last 6 to 8 months, and then now Florida's putting masks back on again. And I can understand it. My wife's a nurse, and she works out of the hospital locally here, and she's in charge of like doing COVID stuff. And it's getting pretty bad out here, so I guess I understand it.
Right.
But it is gonna suck wearing a mask in Daytona in August. It's like 118 degrees outside and humid. But it's only the mask rule is only inside the venue, not in the not outside inside the city of Daytona. It's only inside the venue.
All right. Nice. So okay, is there stuff that happens outside of the Daytona show as well, or like are there like actually vendors out like on the outside and in the inside as far as how the show
no. So it used to be like that. If you went to like for all of my old school guys, if you went to Daytona in like 05, 06, 07 and stuff like that, when they first started using Daytona before they moved it from Orlando, we used to have like an auditorium style. So there would be vendors on the outside perimeter. You would go in, you would see 50, 60 vendors. Then you get to buy your tickets, and then you go downstairs into the main floor and see all the other breeders. But as the show started shrinking, and it's not because like people keep thinking like that shows shrank because of like it not being successful and stuff like that. It really isn't. That show shrank because of Florida. It's not allowing large snakes. It's not allowing. The rules got more strict. Like I honestly, in 2006, 2007, when I went to Daytona, there was a guy offering me a saltwater crocodile. Like literally just right out of a deli cup. You can buy anything.
Let me ask you, Bob, can you really blame Florida like for cracking down on shit? Like, can you like it? Motherfuckers are just reckless down there. They just don't care. Like, it's bro. I got such a crazy reality check. I'm from California, and I'm not saying like, oh, it's crazy ghetto where I'm from, but Florida, where I went in particular, Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and a couple areas there. I feel like I got introduced to real ghetto. Like I'm talking about fucking like no joke shit, and where you could get anything you want. A saltwater crocodile does not surprise me at all that you could get down there in Florida. It's nuts, bro.
Yeah. So I'm kind of at an impasse, right? So I'm on. I'm very heavily involved with USARC. I try to push membership and all that, and try to fight the government and all that mess, so we can keep our rights. But in April, I took a herping trip with a bunch of my guys down in Miami. South Florida there's a problem in South Florida. I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Okay. We were down there for three nights herping, and we found 3 berms. Okay. And one of the berms being an 18-foot berm. Right. So that is a problem in South Florida. Now, however, the berms only live in about 3 counties in Florida, right? Everglades City being the main one. Right. So outside of those 3 counties, are berms really a problem? However, tegus, iguanas, red-headed agamas, they're just everywhere. Right. And then we saw basilisks. I mean, there's just invasives were everywhere. And then if you go further north, you're into Orlando, Lakeland, Tampa, whatever. There's chameleons everywhere. My last trip down there, for my very last Repticon, we went out herping. I caught 17 chameleons, bro.
Jeez.
17 chameleons in one trip. And again, I don't sell chameleons. I'm not in the chameleon market or whatever. So we just grab them, take some pictures, and I just like to herp. I like to see stuff, take pictures, and whatever. Now, the Florida rules for that is if you catch it, it is in your possession. That animal is yours, and you must basically put it down. So on my herping trips, everything escapes, apparently. As soon as I grab it, it bites me, I let it go, and it escapes. So that's the
there you go.
Right. But I do think that Florida is kind of screwed in that. I mean, like the iguanas are there to stay. There's no getting rid of the iguanas. What are you going to do? Go down there with a pellet gun? Give everyone a pellet gun and shoot them. They're freaking everywhere. You go down to the Keys. I went down to Key West in January. So this was January. I went down there for New Year's, and I might have spotted 500 iguanas on my trip. So they're there to stay, man. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, I don't see how you could stop something that invasive.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. I also feel like the same way with the Burmese pythons. You don't think that we're ever gonna get rid of those from fucking popping up everywhere down in where they're at? Like, I feel like that's a little too deep too. No, or what do you think?
Okay, so a Burmese python on average lays an good sized adult female on average is going to lay you 40, 50 eggs at a time.
Right.
They are not a weak species. There's not like a ball python you throw out there and it stops eating it dies. Burms are strong, hardy animals. They're adaptive. However, I just do not see them traveling any further north because we're getting freezes in Orlando. We're getting freezes in the Tampa area that drops into the 30s. I do not think they'll survive or breed at those temperatures. So I think it's a South Florida problem, and we keep it as a South Florida problem. Maybe USARC just need to go and say, hey, we acknowledge that this is a problem, and how about we just ban them in South Florida? I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of this crap. I'm just spitballing. But honestly, the Burms are a strong species. It will thrive down there. But what people don't bring up is, okay, what actual destruction are the Burms doing, right? They're killing the local wildlife, yada, yada, yada. They were clearing 50, hundreds of acres at a time while we were down there to build up condos, apartments. They're literally leveling out these areas, and they're clearing out the marshes. They don't mention that they're building beach houses and lake houses in that area, and everything's getting wiped out and putting hotels there, right? Is that not more destructive for the environment than some snakes eating some raccoons or whatever? So right. Yeah.
Well, okay. So our last podcast we had together, you opened my eyes. I mean, it's not like you didn't say much, but it was like what we were talking about just connected, because I mean, at the time I had about 12 ticks, and I was already like knowing that I was in a position to where like these motherfuckers aren't even full grown yet, and they are a lot of my workload that I have to deal with on a day-to-day versus everything else I work with, right?
Right.
And I got real practical with that, Bob. So I appreciate that. And I know you weren't intentionally trying to bash fucking keeping big snakes or anything. It just like kind of naturally came out, and it opened my eyes because I was able to actually get those retics to people who are really experienced with them, excited to have them, and that's their focus. You know what I mean? I don't have a focus for 12 big pets because I'm not going to breed retics at all.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
But see, what I'm getting at with that is a lot of people don't have that kind of sense. Like they're just really poor keepers, in general, right? And and the thing is, people are poor keepers with big snakes. And what kind of room for air do we have, even in North Florida, to have motherfuckers still because if you're in Florida period, people are still gonna let their snakes release in the wild if they don't want it. Like they just don't need it. Like they don't want it, they're gonna let it go. And I feel like that's never gonna stop.
Right. So here's my concern with a lot of that is like I call those animals with small margins. Okay.
Right.
A retic, a burm, cobra, those are animals with very small margins for error. So like the Texas case, I don't know if you saw where there was a loose, this guy called it in and said that he can't find his cobra. So when you can't find your cobra in its enclosure, it's either loose in your house, which means not very good, or it's loose in the neighborhood, which also not very good. In those situations, that's a very small margin of error, right? He forgot to lock the cage or whatever the problem is. Now, if that cobra bites somebody, does he go to jail for manslaughter?
Right.
Right. So like small margins of error are like that. And then that makes our community look like shit, obviously, is every comment I read on those articles was like, why does anyone need to own an animal like that? Well, it's the same argument for guns or anything like that because we're Americans. We're Americans. We should be allowed to keep whatever the hell we want. That's the argument, right?
Freedom.
But then it comes to American freedom. Yeah, America. Yeah, but then the other argument on the other side is, yeah, we're allowed to, those are our rights. It's our right to keep whatever the hell we want. But then now this guy has a cobra in his house that he forgot to lock up. It gets out and kills your neighbor. Then what? You know what I'm saying? So like the margin of error on an animal like that or a retic, big burm. An 18-foot burm is easily going to kill someone's kid if it wanted to. Right? If let's say your burm got loose gets into the neighbor's house, and we hear it all the time, right? People tell us all the time, "Oh, that snake was sizing you up." But honestly, when I had my hands around the 18-foot berm down in South Florida, that's the biggest berm I've ever handled with other guys. That is the biggest animal I've ever had to handle, and she is extremely powerful. If that animal, if it was one-on-one, me and her, she would have easily choked me out if she wanted to. So those are animals where you need 3 people at a time to help you clean cages and stuff like that. And the margin of error is this much, because if you decide one day, oh, I'm going to handle my berm, and you open the cage, it comes out, and you have no one there, and she decides she's having a bad day, stuff like that. So I mean, I see this, and this is the second case of cobras loose in the last 2 months, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, because I do the plug for Bar Check now, so I'm kind of looking at what the fuck's happening, and it happens quite often. It happens more than you think. I mean, it's funny. Have you seen how Texas handles with loose cobras? I don't know. Have you seen the news on that? Okay, let's see how Texas handles their missing cobra. So they let's see, North Texas, right? I guess they have a missing they have a missing cobra here. I forget the name. It's like a West African banded cobra, but they literally started. This thing is still on the loose, mind you. It's still on the loose. And then motherfuckers, they're finding it, taking pictures of it, and they made a Twitter account for it. So whoever this person is finding it still and just taking pics of it, and this thing's fucking blowing up. It's a famous cobra in Texas on the loose.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could just handle things more like Texas, we would be fine.
Right, but so here's the problem. Like, why did that person not fucking just take care of that problem before it bites somebody, and then it becomes like a real thing?
Because it's Texas.
Right. Texas. But look at the guy in Carolina. So here's the thing about Carolina. Carolina is fucked. Yeah. They have a kid that his cobra got loose, right? And this is a kid. Okay, I know he's a YouTube thing or whatever he is, but this is a kid that let a cobra loose. And if you know anything about the Carolinas, there's a show in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, the Reptile there. Is everything. I've been to that show. If you have $300 and a driver's license, they're selling you a cobra. That's the requirement. Like, shouldn't cobras have a little bit more requirement, like a fucking license or something like that to keep? Florida has a 1,000-hour license. I believe in order to keep a venomous animal, you have to have 1,000 hours of training. Yeah. And in my opinion, that should be the minimum.
But not everybody has that in Florida.
Right. Dude, I mean, look at everything else that requires license. I mean, there's crackheads driving with no driver's license. So I mean, that's just regulation.
True.
Right. Do we need the government to regulate this? Probably not. We don't want them because, again, we don't want the government to keep meddling in one thing at a time. But do you want your neighbor to own 10 cobras with absolutely no training, and he's keeping it in a fucking 10-gallon tank or whatever the hell, which I've seen before, because I've seen I was at the Columbia show, and I was actually vending next to my buddy who sells cages, and a guy came up and asked for a 10-gallon tank. And I imagine he's buying a ball python or something. No, he bought a fucking baby gaboon viper. He bought a gaboon viper and wants to put in a 10-gallon tank with a lamp. So, like, again, 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid, whatever the hell, that thought it was cool to buy a gaboon viper. So where do we draw the line? Right? Where's the gray area for that? But again, anyway, I don't know the answer.
I mean, unfortunately, something drastic's about to happen. And if it's already happening, North Carolina, like you said, is fucked. I mean, U.S. ARC, if you're not, and I'm so sorry. It's funny because this guy, you're probably one of the biggest U.S. ARC supporters, and all my guests, for the most part, all my guests support U.S. ARC. They better.
They should be.
I didn't shout out U.S. ARC in the beginning of my shout outs. I always shout out U.S. ARC. But if you're not fucking messing with U.S. ARC or have no idea what U.S. ARC is, please go down to the description below. Click on U.S. ARC. They give you updates on any bans that's happening anywhere in the United States. They keep you posted, and you never know when it's going to be your turn, because this is what we're talking about here. So, guys, just please, if you're just like, what the fuck is U.S. ARC, go down to the link, and if you could become a member, that's great, please. And if not, just talk about it. But anyways, I'm sorry. I usually give U.S. ARC a heavy, very player shout out, Bob. I swear to God, if you go back and look at any of my podcasts, U.S. ARC gets a major shout out, so I apologize.
Do you know why there was a heavy U.S. ARC push at the beginning of this year?
Why there was? Well, because Cusco threw a fit on YouTube.
What did he say? I honestly, I love Cusco. I gotta watch all his videos.
He did like a, he did like, he has his classic thumbnails that's like pretty Jurassic, but then he had one that really got me because it looked like he was pissed and he wanted to call people out. And I was like, oh, who's he going to call out? And he basically called out any big breeder or well-seasoned breeder who has not supported US art. Cause I guess there's a list and he's like seen everyone who actually is fucking active with US art. And he's very surprised on how many people who don't even contribute a nickel to US Arc and have had a lot of success in this game, a lot of success. So that pissed him off. So I thought maybe that, but you tell me, please.
Okay, so at the beginning of the year, we had a small meeting. I had called everybody about US Arc. Main reason being that there are probably 10,000 berm or retic owners in the United States that are on a Facebook group. Okay, so in the Big Snake Owners Facebook group or something, there was like 10,000 members.
Wow.
So we automatically expect there to be at least 10,000 US Arc members, right? Let's say we expect half of those guys to be members. And how many ball python breeders do you think there are?
Like all together in US Arc or in the United States?
Let's say in the United States, how many ball python breeders who are actually making any type of money, you think?
Anything? Oh man, at least 1 million. I don't know.
Hey,
a lot.
Okay. Let's say there were 10,000 ball python breeders that make money. Okay, even if you make 10 G's a year, that's making money, right? If you make $10,000 or more in this business or in this industry, in this hobby, okay, there were 10,000 ball python breeders and 10,000 large snakes owners, okay? Let's say there's another 10,000 large lizard owners, tegus, iguanas, all that mess, and then whatever else. So I'm counting 30,000 reptile owners who make some money off of the industry. Okay, some amount of money. I don't care. You're not doing this for a living. You're just a hobby, whatever.
Okay,
30,000 members.
I said 1 million.
How many USARC members do you think there were in January this year?
I have to say at least 3,000.
Yeah, so we had under 2,000. Okay, we had 1,500 members.
Damn,
1,500 USARC members.
Less than 10%. That sucks.
Yeah. So I'm not a mathematician, but we're at close to 5% count. Okay. So 5% of all guys who make money off the industry is actually a member of a they count USARC as a lobbying group that actually helps our industry, right? So you're making money off the industry, but you don't want to put any money to help fight your rights to keep this going, right? So we have 1,500 members total. That was one of the reasons you notice all these big ball python breeders were like, if you join USARC, you get 10% off animals, yada yada yada. We're pushing for all these USARC auctions. Have you ever had a chance to talk to Mickey Myers that owns Show Me Reptile shows?
No, but it's funny. I really admire. I just became friends with that guy on Facebook, which I rarely ever do. But something told me to because his memes. I saw one of his memes. But anyways, yeah, I'm very drawn to the guy, and I want to bring him on the show. But anyways, yeah, please continue. I know the guy.
Yeah, so I talked to him at the beginning of the year. I started doing some of his shows, and now I asked him, how come we don't have more USARC members? And I think the general public's just not educated about it enough. So I asked him, we need to raise money. That's the whole bottom line. We need to raise money and we need to raise awareness. I told him, hey, can we just do some type of event at your shows to raise money? He increased all his table costs by $5, and that money goes directly to USARC. If you can't afford $5 extra for your table costs to go straight to USARC, that's a problem. Then maybe this isn't the industry for you, right? Extra $5. I mean, your table cost went from like, I think $85 to $90.
Wait, was he getting a lot of pushback because of it? Were people giving him push? No, okay.
I don't think so. I hope not. Anyways,
yeah, that's kind of embarrassing.
So I recommended that, and that boom, he put that into play immediately, and they put $1 per person per attendee straight to USARC. So this dude is writing a check for like $2,500, $3,000 every week for USARC. I suggested the same thing to Repticon. Then that's why I'm no longer with Repticon. So I just throw that out there. But
well,
yeah, so
I mean, I want to talk about that because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dig after I saw your post, which you don't ever bring drama to your account. So I mean, if you were bringing it, it's because you have strong belief behind it. But I also looked into it. I'm like, Repticon, like I know Repticon shows, but I never really heard much hype other than like when you were there. But other than that, like I don't really hear much about Repticon shows. So it surprised me that like the Repticons I hear about are the ones that you attend are the ones that you are not attending anymore. So how did that make you feel? I don't understand. Like you've brought in a lot of attention to Repticon, like a lot.
right. So I feel like so Repticon. I'm not surprised because you're in the West Coast. Okay, so you're I don't know what major shows there are out there.
So we have
Repticon,
we have the Expo, Reptile Expo, and we have the super shows.
okay. So Repticon is the major player in the Southeast. They do Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Alabama, and so on. So they are basically one of the only shows in this area, other than Daytona being the NARBC and stuff like that. Now, the reason I left Repticon and the reason it became such a big stink is I didn't want to be the one trash talking Repticon because I didn't want to do that. You notice my post, all I said was I'm leaving Repticon, and the reason being is I didn't get tables. And I basically just provided the pot for everyone to kind of vent into. And you notice 500 comments later about people shitting on Repticon. It kind of reflects what type of business was being done, you know. And I don't want to talk too bad about Repticon because I was with them for years. I've been with them for over 200 shows, and I did great. I made a lot of money, and most of their employees were very good with me, and I had a good time. It's just the problem is like as the shows grew, like we helped them grow, like the vendors helped the show, grow.
They got that money. They switched up.
Right. And then they started treating their vendors a little bit worse. Tables were hard to attain. And now they kind of do a first come, first serve table situation. So what happens there? Right. So I've been vending with them for 250 shows, and I didn't have tables for Atlanta, which is my backyard show. That's a problem, you know. And then after I made a post about me quitting, was my first time meeting the owner of Repticon the very next week. He asked me for a meeting. So I asked him straight up, I said, how come I've been vending with you for 250 shows? I bring a lot of people to your shows. I mean, I post about it, I promote it, I get new vendors to come. And how come this is the first time I'm meeting you? Like, this is the first time me meeting basically the guy that's been selling me tables for the last 250 shows. And he didn't have an answer. He doesn't really go to shows, so I guess I can't blame him, and I can't blame him. He doesn't attend his own shows.
But he should, though, especially, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, like, I don't know. Go continue.
Yeah, so my wife had a little reservation about us canceling Repticon because I make so much money there. What's going to happen without the shows? And thank goodness for COVID, because online sales have been retarded. I mean, dude, we ship out 10 to 12 packages every week. I mean, honestly, COVID is probably the best thing that happened to the reptile industry, sales-wise. Okay, obviously, I know people are being affected. Everyone's catching and getting sick and stuff like that. And my wife has to work overtime mandatory at the hospital. But for reptile sales, if your last year wasn't your best year in sales, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, we sold out of inventory at the day they come out of the egg. We have people putting deposits as soon as they come out of the egg. So, I ramble like I think we started off at Repticon and now we're talking about COVID. It's just kind of
but it all links up. It's all relevant to what we're speaking about. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. Like, I had Dale Richards from Constricted Reptiles on last week. Dale's a really humble guy. Doesn't really speak harsh on anything, but he did not have too many good things to say about Repticon. So that's another thing too. Like, the whole show, Dale is fucking positive, and then we talk about Repticon. And he's like, yeah, Repticon's fucking shit. Like, they're bullshit. And I'm like, oh, all right, respect. You know what I mean? Like,
I love Dale.
Yeah, I love Dale too. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just that kind of baffled me. It's kind of like Ryan McVay and his Zilla situation. You know what I mean? Like, Zilla wants to go a different route instead of like more of the stuff that matters, like the US ARC route and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like there's certain companies out there that the money matters more than what I guess the support that they've been having. Like you said, like, you fucking supported Repticon for how long, and then it took this much, something this drastic for the owner to be like, all right, let me have a sit down with you, and after you're already lit and you're just like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? So
Right. I mean, he was a nice guy. We talked about it. He was asking me what's wrong. We're trying to come to resolution. Nothing ever happened of that because I'm also very good friends with Mickey. So I'm doing all the Mickey shows. But since you brought up Ryan, I want to give a shout out to ZoomEd and my buddy Eric from ZoomEd. They donate $10,000 a month to USARC. Okay. So huge shout out to ZoomEd for doing all of that for the industry.
Respect, huge respect. Now, let me ask you this, because I've always, asked at the last show, it was funny. I just rewatched our last show like 2 days ago, and I remember I was telling you how bad I want you to come to Pomona. And it's feasible for you to attend, but just like the whole vending thing would be something that'd be a long stretch, right? You think?
I talked to Josh the other day because he wants to attend the Super Show. For me to drive my animals over there, I think I don't even know how long the drive that is. I think it takes 24 hours to drive through Texas, I think, is what someone told me once. It takes 24 hours to drive from one side of Texas to the other. I don't know if that's a real thing. I know it took me 12 and a half hours to drive from my house to Arlington, Texas. Right. So I could imagine with sleeping and stopping, it would take me almost 2 days to get from my house to the Super Show. And I don't know if I want to put my animals through that. I mean, that's a lot of time off heat and water. There's an option of shipping the animals. I think I talked to Daniel Allison before, where he just ships all of his animals over there. But now you're talking about $100,000 package, and do you trust FedEx to, handle your $100,000 or $75,000 package to send all your inventory over there? You could send maybe direct flights, something like that. I just think it's too risky. I would love to go over there this coming year in January, just to attend and hang out. I just want to meet everybody, I've been following Sterling Nelson for 10 years, and I've never met the guy. We talked on the phone 50 times. I've actually never met the guy, stuff like that. Miguel, I'd love to go over there and see all his what he's doing, stuff like that. All the California guys, a bunch of breeders over there, so just want to go and hang out, I think would be more feasible.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens. I mean, let me ask you this. What's your opinion on, obviously if Florida's hitting the fan, usually kind of what happens at Florida ends up coming over to the West Coast. I feel like personally, do you feel like, the shows are at risk here that are still yet to happen? Like the Tinley in October, Arlington, September, there's Anaheim in early September. What do then we have Daytona next week, which, like you said, there's a mandate to wear masks now, but what do you think about the other shows that are yet to happen this year?
If you notice, Florida is one of those don't give a shit states. Florida, Texas, stuff like that. Last year, I was actually very surprised when we went out to Arlington that they had the show. It was in the mid of the peak of COVID, if you will, and they still had the Arlington show. Now, if Florida shuts down their shows or events, for sure, the other states are going to follow suit. But even when Florida had Daytona show, Arlington had their show. You notice all these major shows are happening. Tinley still shut down. I did a show the week before Tinley in the Carolinas, and Tinley still shut down. Tinley, I hate to say it like this because I love Brian Potter and I love all those guys. Tinley might not come back. It just seems like that
God
Chicago.
Damn it. I bought my ticket, of course. Go fucking figure.
Dude, I love Tinley. There's a restaurant there. I go like 3 times every time. I love Tinley. I love the show. I love the atmosphere. I love everything about that show. Chicago, that area is just hard to deal with. They're probably going to shut down the area for events. Georgia already shut down all concerts in the area. So if you're in Atlanta, you're not going to a concert. You're not going to any events. They're shutting down a lot of it. And actually, I'm kind of pissed off because we always go out for Halloween. That's like our big thing. We always do a big Halloween event. And it sounds to me like the clubs are going to shut back down and everything like that. So honestly, right now we're making contingency plans for Tinley weekend. Like if we don't have that show, what do we do that weekend? Do we attend another show? Do we take that show off, weekend off? So we're pushing all of that right now. With all the numbers that I'm looking at, like COVID numbers, it definitely looks like Tinley's gonna not happen. I really hope it does. I'm gonna leave that open, and I really hope it does because I want to do it so bad. I've never gotten a chance to set up in Tinley before. Out of all these years, I've never set up in Tinley, and I want to do it so bad.
With all due respect, we should just prepare for it not to go down, just because we've been let down twice already. So here we go.
Right. I don't want to get it hyped up. Like I remember last year, Steve Me and
Yeah.
Steve from Steve's S'mores. Steve drove all the way close to my house, and he was so hyped to go to Tinley. This was in March, and he got about an hour away from my house, and he calls me, and he was just like, I mean, someone punched him in the gut. I mean, he was heartbroken when they canceled Tinley. I mean, we were so prepared. I had my display blade cleaned out. I mean, everything was waxed, ready to go.
Yeah.
Snakes were prepped, and it just canceled last minute, and it was a heartbreaker, man.
I fucking talk about heartbreaker because at that time, it was just when I lost my homie Forrest. My homie Forrest had just passed away, and I had like already planned to go to my first Tinley, right? So I was on the plane and landed when, you know, fucking they announced that Tinley's not going down that Thursday. So as I arrived, they're like, "Oh, Tinley's not happening," and I was fucking so sad. You know what I mean? Because I was like there, you know, and I'm like, now what? I don't even know what to do at this point, you know. So I can only imagine what your boy felt like, you know, because it's like that's a shitty feeling, and you know. But guess what, man? It's probably gonna happen again, like you said. So
hopefully not. I mean, we're gonna prepare
not.
both ways. I'm really hoping it doesn't get canceled. Maybe COVID just goes away next month, and who knows?
You never know.
Right.
Now let's talk about something more positive, if you're cool with that. Just kidding. Your production, man. You know, obviously we're talking about how sales are great for you online, but like, do you still have a lot of stock left, or stock yet to come this year? What's it looking like this year? Where we at with your productions?
So a lot of breeders are telling me their season's going later in the year, which I'm not surprised based on the weather patterns and all that. This year so far, we've hatched 1/3 of what all the animals we've bred. We've hatched 1/3. So I still got the other 2/3 left. Oh, look at that, me and a tiger, man. But we're still hatching a lot right now. We're pulling eggs daily. We're pulling babies daily. I think I posted a snake literally 3 minutes before we went onto this interview. I was just checking my incubator, and we hatched out a really cool clown thing. So I went ahead and pulled her out, washed her off, and posted her. We're hatching every day. We're having a really good season. I feel like everyone's having a good season because last season was kind of a one-off for everybody, and I think this is going to be my biggest year for sure. The sales have been amazing. Thank you everyone for the support. My online sales, I don't know how it's happening, but I anticipated there to be like this bubble, right? Like the house market bubble. Like everyone's buying. I'm like, it's got to stop at some point. You know, like people got to stop buying at some point. And honestly, it's been amazing that when I hatch out a clutch, I'll have 4 people message me and say, what's for sale? What's available? Which ones are females? Which ones are males? And honestly, I'll take a deposit on half the clutch most of the time and sell the rest. Oh, that's a nice little animal there.
Sold. What do you know? Not available. Let's see this one. Sold. Not available.
Yeah.
Dude, this shit's heat, bro. I mean, I gotta say, what's crazy is like you have like some outstanding clown combos, but then you also have like amazing fucking like candy pies. Like I don't see people with diverse stuff like this for the most part. You know what I mean? Which I always respect. Like that's one thing I like about your projects is, you know, you usually have going too hard to one direction. I feel like you're all over the place a little bit.
Well, I think the main thing is I do a lot of shows, and what we've learned. I talked to Josh Lumberg a few weeks ago about this. Is the one thing that makes you successful at a show is having variety. You can't just bring a whole table full of clowns and expect to do a good show, because what if those clown customers didn't show up to that show? Right. So my staple in the industry is I have 5 blue-eyed Lucy's every show I attend. Okay. It sounds horrible, but I always have 5 blue-eyed Lucy's every show I attend to make sure that I have animals. I'm going to pay for that show. Right.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of variety here, and mainly because I have the space for it. It is if you have the space for it, add more projects. And I tell all the new guys this is like, don't look at my production and think you need to own one of every project. That's not going to happen for you, because you just got in. Your first year, you don't want to hoard up 200 animals. So select a few projects you like. Unfortunately for me, I have a lot of space, so I just buy freaking everything. When I see a new project, I'll add 5 more animals. So because I have the space for it and I have the employees for it, that's one big thing people don't understand also, is that by yourself, you shouldn't manage 500 animals. And the reason for that is you can't give every animal the care that they need by yourself. So if you're a one-man team, then see what your limit is. It might be 100 animals, it might be 40 animals if you have a very time-consuming job. And last year or the year before that, I realized that I can't be a one-man show. So I hired employees, and that's probably the best thing I've ever done in this business, is that I can assign, hey, you need to clean every single baby tub this week or whatever it is, so that I don't have to do it, and I make sure that the animals are taken care of. And again, that's the most important thing about doing this, right? Is that we care about the animals. So I tell people, don't expand too fast, and make sure that you give the animals what they need, because you owe that to them, right? You are all this animal has. So, if you're growing too fast, like I've seen some guys do, kind of, level it out, and make sure to find out what your peak is. How many animals can you actually handle in your collection correctly and responsibly, and that's how you grow. That's how you grow the collection. By knowing that number.
I'm glad you talked about growth and whatnot, because that's one of my topics I want to talk to you about, Bob, because it's one thing that you were able to do right off the bat, where I feel like that was a part of your game plan, was the way you were marketing yourself. Like after you invested in what you felt like you believed that was going to take you to that next step, you were able to display it in a way that grasped a lot of attention and a lot of like dedicated customers, right? So a big topic nowadays, a lot of people will always want to talk about, is like the business side of keeping ball pythons, but more like how to thrive a business, right? Because you're only as good as your last season. But even if you have a great season, like, what do you do with your snakes, right? Like, if people think it's that easy to just have gorgeous combos and you're going to fucking sell them for morph market prices or however much you want to sell them. But I feel like a lot of people struggle with that, right?
Right. So it's the branding is what you're kind of. So I think I have this thing where I've talked to a few customers this past week about it. It's actually I have this, not issue. I have this character flaw. I don't know, where I actually get emotionally too attached with a lot of my customers. Most of my customers are friends. We talk almost on a daily basis. If you're a longtime customer, if you message me, I always respond. That's the one thing. So you can just talk to me about anything, because I love talking about snakes. So I think it's very important for you to cultivate these relationships, especially to find out who's going to be your best customers. You might have a guy that's going to spend $30,000-$40,000 with you a year, and all it takes is you kind of holding his hand a little bit, and telling him, hey, when he messes you to ID a clutch, it honestly takes me 30 minutes to ID a clutch. As long as it's fairly simple, I can ID that clutch, boom, like that, because I've seen enough babies. So it takes me 30 minutes to ID a clutch. I do that for a customer 10 times a year, and all of a sudden he comes back to me to spend 30 grand. So when you're cultivating these small relationships, it don't need to be about money. You want to have these good relationships with people anyways, because you're going to need people down the road. You're going to need help IDing, you need whatever. And my phone, I stay on my phone like all day long, literally at the gym, wherever, I'm eating dinner, because I'm responding to a lot of messages. And I hate leaving people on red, and I hate it when people leave me on red. So I think that's an important part of it. That's not so much branding, but for branding, if you see me at a show, I will not vend a show if I wasn't prepared for it. If I don't have banners, if my displays aren't clean, I don't even want to be there. So I think that's a huge part. I think that's a big thing that we're pushing now, which I'm seeing a lot more of. I've been to the last few shows, and I'm watching these brand new guys come up with 8-foot banners, clean ass displays, good lights. And I'm watching guys who've been doing this 20 years still stick to the same old ass deli cups that they used for the last 6 shows. Whatever Astral Turf that they've been using for 6 shows, they got shit all in it. And I think that's a huge push, and I think that's a huge plus for the community, seeing these new guys come in, step up their game, and get to the next level. I mean, I went to a show 3 weeks ago in Knoxville, and my buddy Wesley Hatmaker and his son Weston, they set up probably one of the nicest setups, and I think that was like their 5th or 6th shows vending, and they're setting up this huge knife display, lights. I mean, and he has incredible animals because he invested very wisely. And I think right now is a very good time for people to invest. And I think we got a big push from the investment side because of COVID. People are stuck at home. They're buying more animals. you're watching guys invest 10, 30, 30, 40, $50,000 into this brand new thing that they just discovered. And I think because COVID helped and because Miguel,
Right.
believe it or not, Miguel, Justin, Billy Rowe, all those guys who discuss the business and the money side of it, it's great for the industry. Some people hate on them about it. They're like, man, I can't believe they're going to bring up money. And I'm like, why not? These guys coming in investing 50 grand or 100 grand of their money on their first year need to know that they can make that back next year if they do it right. So I think that's a big factor. I think that's huge. So yeah, I'm rambling again.
Don't you kind of feel like it's the ones who are kind of wondering why are they speaking about money, or the ones who aren't actually out there making the money, or like actually fucking making it? Because I don't see, like, don't get me wrong, like I see people out there putting in work, but I don't see, like, I don't think everyone's getting the same fucking kind of like production, like, what's the word? Fucking just results. I guess results, right?
If you didn't do your homework, you don't want anybody in the classroom to bring it up to the teacher, huh?
Yeah,
you ain't made no money. Yeah, you ain't made no money. You don't want to answer any questions about money.
Right. Exactly. So why? And that means you don't want to talk about it. You're just like,
you don't want to talk about it. You want to bring up money. You're 60. Yeah. You're 60 grand in the hole. Why would you want to talk about it?
What's funny is because, like, man, Miguel created such a fucking tiff in the beginning because he talked about money so freely when he was only in the game for like 2 years, and that rubbed people the wrong way. Because he was posting like pics of his cars that he had, and like it really just rubbed people the wrong way. But at the end of the day, it just put a switch on things, because at the end of the day, man, what are we here for? To fucking play checkers? Like, we're here so we can, like, we got to eat, bro. Like, motherfuckers, we got to eat. Bob, I know you like to eat. You love to eat.
I think the majority, I want to say 80% of my customers have been keeping snakes less than 5 years. I think I'm going to go ahead and say that. Majority of our new investors have been keeping snakes for less than 5 years. They're coming brand new into the industry. So why would we shit on Miguel for being new and making money when that's the bulk of our customers?
Right.
You know who's a crazy guy? Insane Clowns, fucking Mike Sanders. That dude's dumped so much money into this and bought in like the craziest animals I've ever seen. He'll send me pictures of some of his stuff that he's picking up, and I'm like, that's a 10K animal. That's a 15K animal.
You don't fuck around, bro. He don't have nothing like that guy. I had him on the show, man. Shout out to me, Mike. But you're right. This motherfucker has nothing like it's kind of just like my jaw just hits the ground. Everything he posts.
Right. Like, but could you imagine, why would you invest in it if everybody goes online and says how little money they're making? Right? Why the hell would I buy a new $10,000 snake if nobody's making money? So if you want guys to seriously invest in you, then you got to show some success. I'm not going to invest in a guy or with a guy that's not making any money. I don't want his animals. Right. I don't want to get animals from somebody that's not producing good stuff and not doing well in the industry. That's just part of it.
I don't think a lot of people understand that. Yeah, they're buying a snake from Miguel, but they're also buying it because they love who Miguel is. Because you got to understand, a lot of people want to, at the end of the day, like, you're buying a snake, but who are you buying it from? Like I at the end of the day, I want to know who the fuck produced this animal. And there was a time where it could be a no name out of a garage and fucking, but we're in a time where, dude, somebody has to lead by good examples, because we have zero room for error to show any kind of fucking neglect or any kind of wrong keeping. So now it's a standard. Everyone's on top of everyone's shit, which I respect, right? But at the end of the day, man, bro, I'm just saying, it's inspiring shit.
Right. And you want to see that, right? We want to see the success in the industry, and we need to see guys. And honestly, I brought this up the other day. We need to see normal people breed snakes and be successful, because in the public's eye, every ball python breeder is a sleazy dirt bag, has 110-gallon aquariums in his house. When in reality, who do you think is the most successful ball python breeder in the game right now? Who do you think it is?
The most successful, I would say Justin Kabelka. Yeah.
Justin Kabelka is about the most normal white guy I've met in my life.
Yeah, he's super awesome.
He's just another white guy, right? He's just average looking. Oh, people could say he's good looking, but he's not weird. You know what I'm saying? You don't look at him and go, that guy breeds snakes.
No.
Right.
He's appealing.
So that's what we need in the industry, is to be like, okay, people who breed snakes aren't all weird. Sure, we have some weird guys, right? We have some weird looking people, whatever. But we have to show people that our industry is just like any other industry. We have people of all kinds, and I love that it's breaking out to the Hispanic community, the Black community, the Asian community, whatever, because we need to make this more acceptable. And Justin being the most normal white person I've met in my life, and you look at Ozzy, super successful and not weird at all. Like, if you ever get a chance to just sit down and talk with Ozzy, he's a very successful, normal guy, you know. So I think that's what we need more of in the industry, and I'm glad that they're the face of the industry.
But going back, and this is not towards anybody or in whatsoever, but I'm just saying, go back to what we were talking about earlier. Is you have certain people that just like the money thing. Some people don't want to talk about money, right? Well, there's just certain people who should and could put themselves out there more because how much they're looked up to, how long they've been in this game. But I feel like they just have certain things they just don't want people to find out about. I feel like they're just like, you know what I mean? They choose to kind of like not be as involved as look at the stuff Justin does. Look at all the collaborations. Look at the shit Miguel does. Look at all the stuff you do for shows and stuff like that. I mean, and I'm just saying, there's breeders out there who have amazing shit, but don't attend shows, solely online, and case by case, some of them are dickheads. Some of them aren't. They don't really have good customer service. They're fucking really.
Do you think because so some most people imagine a ball python or a snake breeder as an introvert, emo, weird, gothy type deal. And we all went through that phase, okay? I went through that phase when I was in high school, okay? Black fingernails, the works, okay?
The Manson days.
Yeah, so do you think it's because some of them actually are extreme introverts where they wouldn't feel comfortable in a show environment or in an actual auction environment, which is, online sales are great, so it's perfect for those guys. COVID's perfect for those guys. They make so much money online at home. There's no reason for them to be in the public eye. And honestly, some people don't need to be in the public eye, especially if you're going to be bad for the industry. I don't need guys coming on here being the face of the industry if they're going to, be bad for it and talk about all the negative side of the industry.
Well, at the end of the day, you have some breeders who just weren't so nice to other breeders when they first came in, and now they're some of the top ones now. And you may feel stupid sometimes if you're that person who just does not give that person the time of day or do something that, I don't know. What? You do that?
No. I faced a lot of that when I first started.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because you're young, bro, and you've been in this for a while, and I guarantee you pissed some people off 110%. So how did you personally deal with that, and when did that come along in your career? Was it right away? Was it when social media started? Was it when you got that fucking Bob Balls banner? When was it when you really started noticing motherfuckers did not want you to keep growing because you're outgrowing them?
So I started pretty slow, but in 2015, 16, I'm going to go full time. So here's the thing. If you follow me on Facebook, so I'm pretty outspoken on some stuff. In 2012, 13, 14, I was so excited into breeding ball pythons. I made a live video, everything I was doing, bro. I was cutting a clutch, live video. I was pulling babies, live video. I was setting up tubs, live video. And I think a lot of the old school guys didn't like that too much, especially this group called Natita. They got onto me for cutting eggs because no one else cuts eggs. They got onto me for using Pro Coco because it's unsanitary. They got onto me for a lot of things. And I almost feel like when I first got started, a lot of it was race related because I've noticed that I can do the exact same thing any other breeder's doing and still get shit for it. And of course, them calling me a gook and, chink and all that stuff. That kind of guarantees that, right?
But nothing to your face, or was it to your face?
Oh, it's all online, dude. I've told these guys I'll meet them at any show, man. I'm confrontational. If I see you in person and you've been talking shit online, I'll just come up to you and tell you about it, right?
God bless you.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that stuff. And you can kick my ass. I brought it up.
Still got to speak up. Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't care if you can whoop my ass. I'm still gonna do something to you. If you hurt me,
right,
you're gonna leave with something fucked up on your face, and maybe I'm knocked out, but You're gonna
I'm
remember
gonna bring
this.
it up. And then everyone mentions how short I am. I get it. I'm 5'5", 170, man.
Oh, fuck, that don't
And
mean shit.
yeah, I'll to you. But
Yeah, I would have.
yeah, a lot of that was online. I've heard it all from some of the breeders you wouldn't even imagine that would have said that to me. But the majority of them already quit. The majority of the people who told me to my or online that I would quit this industry because this is not my people's industry, they're all out. They've already left the industry. They bred their bullshit clutches and they're out because they're such assholes to people. No one wants to deal with them. And I've noticed that in 2016, I've built enough like a fan base, if you will, that I was moving animals fast enough, and I had enough support from my friends and stuff like that,
Right.
to go full time. And from 16 and on, we've just been kind of building steadily on like a following, and I've been blessed with all of this. I've been blessed with enough good friends and support. Especially my Georgia crew, man. I mean, that's that crew probably would do anything I needed if I was to call, man. I moved houses
Can I
last
comment
year.
on that? Can I comment on that real quick?
Yes, please,
I feel
please.
like that's what gave me the most respect for you off the bat is when I saw your crew. Like with Matt and shit like that. Like, but I saw like it wasn't like a one-time show thing. You guys are always rolling together. Like it's kind of like it's a tradition type thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what the Reptiles brought you. Like if it wasn't for the Reptiles, none of this would have happened. You wouldn't be so blessed right now. You wouldn't be, we wouldn't be here right now. Period.
100%. Right. So your success around you, especially in this industry, is because of all the people you associate with in your relationships. My Georgia crew, literally, I was moving houses last year into this facility. We did it in about 6 hours. I moved 500 animals and racks in 6 hours because I had the support, and I'm the best man for a man that I met at a Repticon. Wow. Frank Monroe, he's getting married in October, and I'm his best man for that. And that all that relationship is built around both of us loving reptiles, and wanting better for Georgia and the Georgia crew. So we build up this group where we attend shows together. We fly to Arlington together. We fly down to Miami to go herping together. We do all of this stuff together because we all have one common thing is that we all love reptiles. So I wish that the other states could kind of harness that and build that relationship between everyone that's local to you. You got a guy living an hour away that loves reptiles too. He's just as weird as you are.
Right.
So
yeah, what's crazy is like, I have people who hit me up for like they ask me for advice because they're like, wow, you bring all these people onto your show, like how do I get those connections, right? And I mean, all I got, and it's funny, like the person who hit me up and asked me this specifically, I look at his account and he has amazing animals. And I'm like, man, I was like, dude, what you already have going on is going to bring you those connections. Like I could tell you right now, and like the guy has amazing, like legit content. Cause if he didn't, I'd be real with him. I'd be like, well, maybe you should, focus on your appearance or like what you're trying to do with your account. But this guy has all that down, has 15,000 followers. I think they're legit. Yeah. It's like really impressive stuff, but he feels like he just doesn't know anybody. So I feel like personally, like if you already doing amazing stuff and you're doing amazing work and you're getting a lot of followers and views, dude, I think someone's going to need your connection. You know what I mean? Like, but at the end of the day, I think those things come with time and they eventually do happen. Especially if you go out to these shows, like you got to put yourself out there. Like
you need to meet people in person. Honestly,
dude, that's where it happens.
Right. Online is great, but a lot of these guys that I meet in person, you just built that bond way better. Right. I used to, before I started vending all these shows, I would fly out. I flew out to Arlington 4 times before I vended my first time there. I flew out and just go out with these people. I go out there and I message them ahead of time, let them know I'm going out. And they took me bull riding the last time. So yeah, I mean, like the Dunlaps and all those. The Texas crew is super amazing. Emily,
I love Texas crew,
and
bro.
Breezy. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I went out there and they're like, "You want to go bull riding?" And the answer is not no. Look, man, anytime you invite me to do anything crazy, the answer is never no. So, so I fly out there, hang out with them, meet people in person, shake somebody's hand, and build that connection. And for someone new, find a mentor that will allow you to do that. Like my boy Paco, he's brand new into the industry. He
Paco Miranda.
Yeah, I think this is his second year in. And
That's
last year he
amazing.
messaged me and goes, "Hey man, can I go to Arlington with you?" And I'm going, you know what? I can use someone to help me drive to Arlington. So I told him, come hang out. He rode me to Arlington, helped me bend at my tables, go out drinking, and that's that. He gets to meet all these new people. He gets to meet all these breeders,
Tell
and
me.
so why not? Why not do that? Just message somebody and say, "Hey man, can I come out and help you bend the table? Can I just stand behind the table? I'll be professional. I'll put on your shirt and blah blah blah." And he got to meet all these new breeders, so why not? And by the way, Paco's a terrible driver. If he ever offers anybody to drive with you to a
Oh,
show,
that's
um,
hilarious.
tell him that he can ride with you, but he ain't driving. He's a piece of shit driver, and just come
Oh,
to me. So
well, Mexicans aren't always the best drivers. I mean, we have a ton of Mexican drivers over here, and they're not the best. It's terrible. And little Paco's awesome. He's a homie. I met Paco at Arlington.
right,
Really fucking cool kid. You can tell he's inspired. Loves being a part of the hobby. So it's cool that that's awesome. You brought him up. Well, talk about that, because back when, let's see, I met him last year at Arlington, and he was so brand new. I remember I met him with Alyssa from Full Throttle.
right.
So look, that led to him working with you now. Like it just, I
Right.
don't know.
So
That's how
okay,
it works.
so this is really bad. Okay, so I see this. I see brand new. I think I messaged you about it earlier. I see brand new breeders on their first year in as like a rookies draft, right? So like
Right.
pretend this is like an NBA draft,
Yeah, all right,
and
yeah.
they're all in college, okay? And I'm watching these brand new breeders come in, and I can pretty much look at them and grade them, right, based on how they interact with me, what they say to me, what type of animals they're picking up, how they take care of animals and all that. And I can grade them on a scale and say, this guy is probably going to be a 5-star recruit or whatever, go lottery pick, hell, fucking, Sanders, man, he's a freaking, top 5 pick in the draft. He's going to,
Oh,
first year, he's
the
going to crush it.
rookie draft, dude. He's Kobe right now in the draft, bro. Like
Right.
he has his potential. Like with literally what he's invested in, nobody has with his time
right.
and hobby. So yeah, you're 100%
Who in their first year breeding is going to breed DG clowns? I mean, he's first round pick, So I mean, you're looking at
no
these guys
pressure.
and you're going, right. You're looking at these guys, and I don't want anyone watching this to think, oh my god, I better invest 50 grand in it right now, or else Bob's not going to talk to me. It's not like that. I'm looking at you based on, okay, are you doing the right things to be successful, right? Don't go out there and buy 30 freaking males because they're cheap. Don't go out there and buy pairs of everything because they're cheap. And don't go out there and buy the cheapest animals you can find. That's the main thing to me. I tell people, invest. If you're going to invest correctly. Don't buy $100 animals when you can buy 20 animals for $500 each, or whatever the number is for you. Whatever the number is for you. But you're looking at some of these guys, and when I was talking to Paco, this is how our relationship started. Is I'm looking at him and it's like, this kid's motivated. He's buying in all the right animals. He's asking all the right questions. Honestly, when I first talked to him, first thing he asked was, how to grow this collection without becoming overwhelmed and all this stuff. So I'm talking to him and I'm talking to his girlfriend, and so you're kind of grading these guys on a scale. Like, will this guy will do well? You don't want to invest a ton of money and time into somebody, and then 2 years later he messaged you and said, "Hey man, I got a divorce, I'm selling everything," or "Hey, my girl doesn't want me doing this anymore, so I'm selling everything." That's the worst thing for a breeder. You don't want to see that from a new breeder. He just invested 20 grand. I don't want him to quit in 2 years. So if you're investing a ton of money and you're spending a lot of time and you're doing this correctly, I want you to be successful. So I want to spend time with you. I want to put more time and effort into helping you be successful. So, but again, we're so limited in time. I'm limited in time. So I can only invest in so many people. So if I'm looking at you, you're going to be successful. I want to help you be successful. I want your family to reap the benefits of all of this. Right. So, but again, we can't help everybody because there's hundreds of people coming in. So if you are able to find a mentor that can help you with this stuff, man, I say hang on to them, because they see something obviously in you, because they only have so much time in the day. But if they're willing to help you, they obviously see something in you. Hang on to them, and they'll take you to shows. They'll take you, they'll show you the ropes. They'll help you, let you know what animals you should be investing in. I mean, I get that message every day of the week. is what should I be investing in next? What's the new project? What's the hot stuff?
How important do you feel like the mentorship is as far as having success in the beginning of this whole fucking hobby? I feel like without a mentorship, I mean, like, you're unlikely to get anywhere. Like, really, like, you could, like I said, you could you could buy cool shit, you could hatch cool shit, but there's just so many ins and outs that, I mean, think about all the shortcuts that you could have learned from day one that people could get nowadays with all the podcast shit, with all the social media stuff. Like, it doesn't take much for you to learn. You know what I mean? So I
think it took me almost 10 years to become successful at this because we didn't have a Patreon. I couldn't pay somebody $20 a month to tell me, hey, don't buy deserts. They're infertile. Don't buy into this project. It's crap. Don't do this. Don't do this. Because back then, YouTube was brand new. No one's making YouTube videos back then. I actually messaged Albie Shaw and asked him how to build an incubator. And this man legit walked me through the process of building an incubator. And again, I think he saw something in me that, made him want to spend time and help me build an incubator or whatever it is. So that might just be me thinking that. But the mentorship, I think, is more important in the fact that relationship between you and somebody. Sure, you can watch all these YouTube videos. You can listen to these podcasts. There's Justin makes a video for everything. Miguel makes a video for everything. How to build an incubator, how to set up hatchlings, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Can you message somebody at 1 a.m. and say your female just laid 3 eggs and there's 3 left and she might be egg bound? Stuff like that is what people message me for at 3 a.m, 1 a.m, and they know I'm up. I'm always up. You can literally message me any time of day except for 7 a.m, and I'll probably respond because I don't wake up till 10. But that is where the important factor of having a mentor is the weird stuff that happens in this industry, right? When you have a female that just ate, but then she regurgitated the rat. Why did she do that? Right? Stuff that we've gone through because we've had 2,000-3,000 animals through our facility before. So I think that is more important than just watching 1 million podcasts, which people should, because we're on a podcast right now. People should watch this stuff. But watching YouTube videos and all that stuff, sure, that's good. You're going to gain all this knowledge, but all the weird stuff and weird experiences, you need a mentor for. Someone you can just message and go, hey, can you help me ID this clutch? Because it came out weird. And again, Partho clutches. No one knows about that stuff until the last few years. And people message me like, how come I bred this to this and there's an all-white snake? Well, are they all females? I'm going to go ahead and ask you straight up. Are they all females? Did this happen? It's a Partho clutch. Small stuff like that goes a long way when you're a mentor to somebody, and it means more to them than you think, I think, when you answer these questions.
Yeah. It's definitely a good point. Now, I mean, excuse me. Let's see. What were we just talking about? What was the topic we were just talking about right now before we get
I don't know. I just start ranting off of random shit,
I was
man.
like, yeah, because we were following, and I was like, okay, hold on. We were just talking about something right now.
You just asked me how important a mentor was because...
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. We're good. All right. So, but like, one thing you kind of mentioned, earlier that I felt like I don't want to go past people's head is being selective on your mentor, because at the end of the day, there's some evil motherfuckers out there, and there's people who will give you wrong information, like, or they'll help you to a point where they see you getting so far, and then all of a sudden the help goes down, or it just goes a different direction. And dude, the thing about me, man, like, because of like the crazy life I lived, I feel like I could read people's energy. Like, I know when they're switching up. Like, I know when there's something not there. Like what's going on right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like people need to be wary of that, and you don't need to be. You're not forced to like have to take advice from someone who you feel like isn't respecting you, or just I don't know. Like, what's your advice on that?
You want to find somebody that wants you to be successful, wants you to be even more successful than they are.
Yes. Huge.
That's the main thing, right? I think what happens is a lot of mentors start to get this sense that the master has been, surpassed or something like that.
The sensei is beaten.
Right. The student has surpassed the master type deal.
Yeah, right.
I have a few people locally, I'm not going to mention who they are, where I sold them their first ball pythons, and they made $100,000 last year on ball pythons. I sold them their first few ball pythons. They made $100,000 last year selling ball pythons. They made more money selling ball pythons than their actual real job. And I could not be more happy for these people because they took everything, every piece of advice, whatever, to heart, and they did everything correct. I have vendors who've been vending for a few years. Will come in, we'll chat. I'll try to give them as best advice as possible. They make a bunch more money, and I can't be more happy for them. People have to understand that we're not creating more competition. We're creating more people to create more customers. Each person who becomes successful will tell 100 other people about it. And then those 100 people will have, every one of those 100 people has a friend that is very successful because they're breeding ball pythons, and they'll tell other people about it. So for every single person that I think you help become successful, there'll be 100 more customers from it. So I don't think about, so some of these people, if you're watching this podcast, don't think about that you're creating more competition. Just think about it that you're helping more people create more customers. I don't know if that makes sense.
One thing I always love that Brian Barczyk said is like, someone else's win isn't your loss. And it's so true, because if somebody does something really positively awesome for this hobby, it's good for all of us. Like, this is a win for all of us. So like, every time Justin posts something amazing, you post something amazing, Miguel, that's like, okay, this shows that this hobby is not ending anytime soon. Like, we ourselves are onto something with these fucking animals, and it's creating more attention, celebrity attention. And I feel like the celebrity thing is gonna, because if it's one thing that's blowing up, is TikTok, all the social media shit, bro. Like, it's and snakes are becoming more wanted, more fucking, like, I'm telling you, even I just joined jiu-jitsu about a couple months ago, bro. So many people I talk to are trying to inquire about snakes, and I'm like, and I love it. You know, it gets draining, don't get me wrong, but it's like, dude, it's crazy how people are just so interested nowadays. Animals are winning, bro. Like, I'm telling you, we just got to do a better job. We just got to do a better job at just, leading by example, I feel like.
So this is a funny thing. Why do you think the reptile industry is growing so fast?
Because what we're doing with the animals.
Right. Like, we're making cool colors, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I mean, the marketing side of it. And like, I just feel like, the people who are like out in the standing front, like, for instance, if you type in ball pythons, you'll either see Brian Barczyk, or Justin Kabelka. You'll see like the most popular people on YouTube with ball pythons, I feel like, are leading by good example for the most part. I could be wrong, but what were you going to say? So
I think that's all correct, right? Obviously, these guys are doing it right. They're giving a good image of the reptile community. I think so. Here's a different thing here. Millennials are not having as many babies. Millennials are not spending money on diamonds. Millennials tend to live more in apartments and buy less houses.
Right.
And Japan is a large market for us because they don't have a lot of space. So the younger, newer generation don't want babies and don't want dogs, because dogs is a large responsibility. Keeping a dog, dude, is like keeping 200 freaking ball pythons. It's needy as hell. I have a dog.
Everyday attention.
Everyday attention. My dog would play with me for the next 8 hours if I let him, because they have that constant need for love.
Yep.
Ball pythons, or reptiles in general, don't need that. You can buy a ball python, put it in a tank, whatever, go on vacation for a week, come back. Guess what? It's still there. It literally nothing changes. Throw a rat in, it eats. That's it. It doesn't require that constant need for attention. And I think the newer generations, younger generations are picking up on that. And again, you're right. The stigma's gone because of TikTok, YouTube, all that. The stigma's gone from owning a reptile. Back then, 20, 30, 40 years ago, it's always a long hair ponytail guy that's weird that owns a boa. But now everyone I talk to is like, oh yeah, my roommate had a ball python, or my friend has a ball python, blah, 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 blah. So the stigma's gone. And I think the community will continue to grow as the dog, the fish, the cat market continues to decline. People don't want as many dogs. People don't want fish anymore. And people don't want to spend $3,000 on a coral tank. They don't want to buy saltwater fish. The saltwater fish market actually has been steadily declining. The dog market is declining because of that.
Yeah.
So
I
think that's a factor.
And dogs aren't here nearly as long as they should be, you know, like we don't have dogs for a long time. And a lot of people can't deal with losing more than one dog. Like, bro, I mean, I don't want to think about it because I don't want to cry. But, you know, my homie Bailey, so that's my homie. See, watch, right? See right there. That's my King Bobo's right there. He's his ashes are there. Bro, I went through a lot when I lost him, bro. And I accept it. I feel like this hobby right in now, like, you know, I lost snakes that I've hatched and, you know, chondros. So I understand it's death. It's going to happen, you know, but dogs, because of their companionship and like we were talking about, they need you. They want you every day. It's like losing.
And we don't deserve them. Honestly, we don't deserve them. Honestly, we don't deserve dogs.
Yeah, we're But I feel like
we deserve reptiles. We deserve an animal that wants nothing to do with us and just sits in a box and waits for you to feed it. We don't deserve dogs. We don't deserve the unconditional love that a dog gives. Honestly, I can leave my dog outside for 3 days straight and then open the door and he'll come in and lick me in the face because he loves me. And honestly, that's the love we don't really deserve. But you know, whatever.
Anyways, yeah, I love dogs. But it's so true what you say, man, because like I said, you know, a few years ago, I mean, not even that long ago, like people had such a different perspective on snakes. And I'm saying for the most part, like it was like, like I said, I'll never forget to this day, 5 years ago when my family knew that I was like trying to breed snakes, they thought I was a fucking weirdo, you know? Now they want to come over. Hey, can I bring my, oh yeah, okay, sure. Now you want to come over, right? Yeah, come on.
Right. And it's all, and again, it's part of it is you're successful, right? If you weren't successful and you were drowning in debt and you had, you know, a bunch of lamps and a bunch of fish tanks in your house in the basement, then no, they don't want to come over, you know? So it just depends on it. I have people who don't ever want to come to my house because we have snakes, and Mary's friends don't want to come over because we have snakes or whatever. But then they look at the pictures online and they see this room and all that, and everyone wants to come over and check it out. You know, so it just depends on how you display it, how you package it. And again, I'm not shitting on people with tanks because honestly, I'm going to whip this off real quick. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with tanks. I mean, here's my frog room. There's tanks all over.
But those are exoterras. Those are like, they have good ventilation. Like there's bottom ventilation, right? Those are good tanks.
Right. So again, I'm not shitting on people with a room full of tanks.
What do you got in there? What do you got in there? I mean, you ought as well just show off a little bit.
Okay, let me see if I can turn this. I'm gonna just do this so I don't mess this up.
Yeah, give us a little room tour. Come on.
So I keep. Oh, geez, there we go. I keep crested geckos, dark frogs. I have a tegu, a lot of crested geckos.
Nice.
It's a lot of random stuff here, man. I keep so much. And for those of you who are watching that haven't seen my room tour, I'm gonna give you a really quick spin. Yeah, please. So these are our baby Rex here.
Go ahead.
These are our baby Rex. Okay, cool, sweet, even better. So these here are our baby Rex. This is where we get our babies started. We're not very full right now because, again, I'm still hatching. We're still shipping snakes. So these are all the babies. I want to just scoot over here to see the adults. Right here. So those are all the adults, breeders. Man, and one thing for anyone building a snake room, I'll tell you, get you a water reel. Get you one of these water reels right here.
Crucial. Yeah, bro.
Right there.
I just recently thought about that because I went to go visit Reptile, and they have that in their room, and they can take that shit all the way across, like wherever. Where basically I was taking trips to my sink, and it's like, oh my god, nobody has time for that. You know what I mean?
Right. So we have 4 water reels in this room, and they're 100-foot reels, which is kind of stupid because my room's only, I think this room is 60 foot wide. So, and we have 4 of them in here for no reason. But when I first was building this room, my contractor's like, "You want water coming out of the ceilings?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I want 8-foot fluorescent lights, and I want my power plugs 5 foot tall. You know, stuff like that, small stuff like that becomes important later down the road.
Is your building like something completely separate from your home? Is it like in a different like property? Like where's your building at? Like,
so get this. There are these things. I'm from Florida, so this is new to me. There are these things that are underneath your house called basements. And I didn't discover these things until I moved to North Georgia. And I'm like, and every house in this neighborhood has a basement. This basement is a little bit over 1,800 square foot. Nice. When we first bought the house. and it was unfinished. There was just nothing down here but like, some 2x4s. And we came in and I asked my contractor, I'm like, how can we make this room into a snake room? And we went through the whole works, and it took him 8 weeks, and literally he just finished it out for me, man. Yeah,
that's amazing. So, I mean, roughly about how much did you invest to do what you did to that room off the top of your head? If you could just give people an idea. I get people question all the time, how much do you think it would cost to get a room going? And it's all different for how big you want, but like, how much money did you have invest on doing the room the way you want it right there?
Okay, so if you have a basement, it's easier because you already have the slab. Okay,
right.
Basements are built to hold in heat and all that, because so even in the summertime we don't have to run as much AC. In the winter we don't have to run as much heat. So if you already have the foundation and everything, you don't have to pour a slab. It cost me a total of $80,000 to finish this room out. That's with power upgrade, because the power was. So what you're going to realize also for a lot of you new breeders buying racks is that your house will not support more than 20 racks. Okay, that's what I found out last year at my old house. You plug 20 racks in and they all power up at the same time, something's going to trip. 20 of these ARS racks will trip your power. So we had a power upgrade, and then we paid for a driveway. I had to pour a concrete driveway to go from the top of my driveway down to the basement because they didn't have that already. That was $12,000.
You have a driveway that goes into your basement?
Yeah, I do a lot of shows, so I drive my van literally directly to my basement door.
That is so sick, bro. Like, that's not a basement. That's something different. I mean, I guess it is a basement, but like, bro, you have a driveway that goes into it. That's like
right. So all the small things that we had, before, I was dragging stuff out of my snake room, which was like a standalone building, and I had to carry it through the grass to get to my vehicle because there was a fence. So I'm like, what if I can just back the van straight up into the building? So we poured the driveway, pouring the floor. If anybody's asking, the floor is epoxy. We just poured epoxy. It's easy to clean. I have a Roomba that vacuums this floor like every day, every 6 hours, because I pour cocoa everywhere. When I'm doing tubs, dude, I get cocoa everywhere. The Roomba cleans it all up. To do drywall, paint, lights, the works, it was about $70-something thousand, close to it.
But then, I mean, like you said, I mean, that was even cheaper because you already had the basement layout basically, and you just put the wall.
Right. If you were to pour a foundation, like you pour this concrete foundation and then put up a metal building to wrap it or something, because everything's already here. We just need to throw drywall on it. So it's a little easier. But if you didn't have all that, and you had to pay for 2x4s, and you had to pay to pour us a foundation and all that, and insulation and all that, you're probably looking at $100,000 for this building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respect. Now, let me tell you this. I mean, at what point, Bob, because, it's one thing when you're growing a business, right? But you got to spend money to make money. Clearly, like you got to invest, right? But then, there's certain moves of investment you got to make, which a lot of people, you learn as you go along in this hobby, right? But at what point were you looking at yourself and saying, okay, I could actually invest into this now and fucking put $100,000 into a room? Okay,
so the year before that, 2017-18 was the transition year. I built out my facility. I built a 40-foot by 12-foot facility behind my house, and we outgrew that very quickly. So looking at it this way, would you put in $100,000 to make $200,000? Right? Of course, the answer is yes. Right. Without this facility, I wouldn't have been able to hoard all the animals that I wanted to. Without my last facility, I wouldn't have been able to hoard the animals I wanted to, because before that, I was operating out of 2 bedrooms. I had a 4-bedroom house, and I was using 2 of them up to breed snakes out of. So when we moved to this house, I told my wife, I'm going to spend $100,000 building a new snake room. I mean, we spent $70,000 here, and then, whatever junk else. And then I bought like 4 more racks to add to finish it up. So you're spending $100,000 to give yourself the ability to breed more animals, house more animals, hoard more animals, and more room to work with the efficiency that we have here. I can feed every single baby in this room in 4 hours. I can clean almost every single tub. Well, my employee can clean every single tub in here in about 4 hours because of the efficiency. You have water reels, you have cocoa broken down ahead of time, you have room to do all this stuff. But again, I'm not saying this to discourage anyone new. You're not supposed to spend 100 grand on your first year. Okay. Remember, I've been doing this for over 10 years,
Right.
and I've been doing this full time for over 5 years.
Right.
So it takes time to grow all this and learn from your mistakes. Like my last building, I didn't insulate the floor, so it was sweating during the winter time and stuff like that. But it takes time to grow all of this. And actually, I'm very happy to see some of the people build up their facilities. Like Alyssa, I went to visit her 2 weeks ago, and I was checking out her facility. Super nice. Stuff like that. Alyssa Leonard, if anyone's not following Full Throttle Reptiles. Yes, that's
Hi,
right.
Alyssa, wherever Alyssa's at. I miss her. She used to be here all the time, and now I don't know where she's at. She's probably
She
changing.
works and stuff. She has like a real job or something.
She grinds. Yeah, she grinds. Dude, she's all, dude, that girl, I respect her grind so much because, like, she has, if not more animals than I do, and I have a lot of animals. She works with a bunch of diverse shit like I do. Like, she's all over the place. So I know that's not easy to maintain. Then she has children. Like, she's just all over the place. She does not sleep. I know she doesn't. We've spoken before. She's a savage, man. I give that girl a lot. And I know because she's so fired up inside. Like, she loves what she does. So that's the only way.
Right.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, man. That's so great. Now, let me ask you this. At what point did you, like, when you went full time? So 2017, if I'm mistaken, was it 2017 was when you're like full throttle Bob balls?
I quit my job in 16. I quit my day job in 16, and then I started
making money.
I built my facility. Right.
2017 is when you actually started making income off, like, as far as like full time income, right? Is what you would say.
Right. So, for tax purposes, yes, 17 was the first year I filed taxes. As that being my only job. Yes, I don't have any other job outside of snakes. Yes.
Right. Okay, so when you hit that point, how many clutches were you producing at that time?
At that point, I was doing roughly 60 clutches. So in 16, I did 60 clutches. In 17, we did like 68 clutches or something like that. And then we just progressed from there on. This year, we're doing probably 125 here. And then I have another facility that we deal with also.
Now, let me ask you this, man. I mean, dude, you could just make a killing off 50. You really can if your stuff's right. You're at 120. Right. Where's your end goal? If you have an end goal, where do you?
This is it. This is it. I'm gonna do 100 to 120 clutches in my personal facility. This is what I love. I don't want to get to anything more than that. I just want to do the best ones possible. I might even reduce it down to 100 or 90 clutches because this is all I want to do. Anything more than that, I feel like I might lose the excitement. I haven't. I don't want to get to the point where I lose the excitement of pulling a clutch or hatching an egg. I want to every single day come down to this facility and go, man, I wonder what's hatching. I wonder if that female laid eggs. I don't want this to become a farm where I'm just like, hey, by the way, Brian's my boy. Go pull those 9 clutches. No, I pull every single egg in this building because I enjoy it. I don't want other people cutting my eggs. I want to do everything here. Right. Yeah. This is my baby. So I want to do all the fun shit here. Again, people are like, why do you have an employee? Because I don't want to sit there and scrub tubs, dude. I'm not scrubbing 200 tubs, a day. That's not what I get paid to do. But no, like this is about the level I like to be at. 100 something clutches is really good for us. And if you ever listen to one of Ozzy's videos, I think he did $2.something million off of like 80 clutches. Did you ever see that video?
Yeah, I saw that.
30K per clutch average, I think, is what he posted.
That is so heavy.
So why would you need to do 500 clutches? Just do really good clutches. I'm not at Ozzy's level, but I want to make Ozzy money. So obviously I have to do more clutches than him. That's just a part of it, because I don't have the animals that he has. He's been doing this way longer than I have been doing. And he has the experience and the animals because, again, he did the first orange streams. So because I don't have that, I have to do more clutches than him to produce, the money that I want to make. So 120 clutches is a lot of animals. People don't understand. That's 800 animals a year that you're hatching and pulling out. And then I have another facility that is ran by a good friend of mine, and we deal with those animals also. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because at the end of the day, like, I feel like the only reason why you are where you're at is because you're wising up to the point where you're making this stay fun at all costs, and you did that by getting help. You know what I mean?
Right.
And how many people altogether? Like, how many people in your team? Like, how many people you actually have that like show up and like fucking put in work for you?
So at this facility, like at my house,
Right.
we have one. I have one main employee that does almost everything. I'm very thankful for him because he's developed from first starting with me to now almost any situation I can have him do. I
And
can say,
where'd
hey,
you meet him from?
I actually hired him in 2014. I met him in 2014 when I was doing insurance. I was a recruiter. I was actually a director for a company, and I was a recruiting and training manager. And I actually hired him. And after I left the company, that office shut down. So he was actually out of a job. And I said, hey, man, you want to move up north and do snakes? And he moved up with me. He has no desire to breed his own snakes, which is what I like, because I don't need him in here, he loves the animals, which is the best part. He loves the animals. He cares for all the animals and has no desire to breed his own stuff, which is great for me. And he's developed to learn everything we do here. If I tell him, hey, I need this done, I need this place cleaned, I need this, he can do it. So I have one main employee, and then at my other facility, we have one main employee over there. Her name's Katie, and thank God we have her because I do not want to feed, clean, and do all those animals. And honestly, it's a ton of work over there, and she does a great job. She loves the animals. That's who you need to hire. If you ever hire an employee, make sure you hire someone that actually likes animals. Okay, just don't go hire some ding dong off the street because they think they can do it, and because physically they can't. Hire someone that loves animals, even if they don't know what they're doing. You can teach them this stuff. As long as they have that love for animals, you'll make it work.
But let me ask you this: what's your employee's name? The one employee, the guy that you knew from the insurance company,
Ryan. His name is Ryan. Ryan.
How did you really assess Ryan? Let me ask you that. Like, how are you monitoring how he was working and because I'm sure you kind of you're trying to see if they have the fit for it, right? I mean, I'm sure you're watching them, right? But how do you manage that?
So I sold him his first ball python, by the way.
Right.
I sold him his first ball python. He wanted a pet ball python. I said, yeah, I'll sell you a ball python. And the way I assessed him, and the reason we have him full time, and I actually increased his pay and gave him a raise this year because of how good of a job he's doing. The way I assessed that is that when I come down here, when he first started down here, if I shouldn't have to tell you to do certain things. Some things are a given. I shouldn't have to tell you every single thing you need to do when you're on the job. And I shouldn't ever have to hear, that's not my job, especially when it comes to animals. I shouldn't have to go to a rack and go, this rack doesn't have water. And him go, well, you didn't tell me to water that rack. That shouldn't ever be a thing. I literally, I don't know if I've ever pulled a tub in this room that hadn't had water. That's how I assessed him and how I told him. And also our agreement between me and him is that he can only work here if he's in college while he's in school. That's also our agreement. If he fails in school, if he's struggling, then he loses his job. That's kind of part of the deal.
Damn. So. You got it going on, Bob. You have like a whole fucking program. It's like the Bob Balls program over there. That's amazing, man. Good for you. And this is the kind of shit I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, you know, Bob, that what you have is very uncommon too. Like, it's hard to find somebody in that position who's helping you work with these animals, but then doesn't want to breed them, but yet has the passion to help you grow. Like, because I feel like jealousy plays such a crazy part. Like, you have some people who will help you, but then almost you feel like, oh, well, I just almost don't trust some people around your shit. I feel like my biggest thing is I am such a no, you know what I mean? Like, the only person who's ever cut my eggs other than me is my wife, and she's done a hell of a job. Right. Respect. But I feel like at some point, like you're saying, I don't want to ever have to walk in my room and not be happy to pull clutch. I don't want to be that overworked. I got a taste of that in the beginning because I bred my own rats. I worked a fucking 14-hour job at the time, and I was trying to I pushed myself to a point where I almost didn't want to do it. But that being said, it's where was I going with that? Fuck.
It's rare. It's rare to get somebody like that, honestly. Yeah. Because I've had other employees before, and honestly, the reason it works well with him is, again, he has no desire to breed the snakes, so it's fine. And the jealousy part, I don't think that's so much. And I think it's because I put such emphasis on him becoming successful down the road. When I
Right.
first hired him, I said, I will hire you as long as you're in school and as long as you're doing well in school. And he graduates this coming year with his degree. He'll be going to grad school the year after that, and he's on track to get into grad school and doing everything that he's supposed to do to go into grad school. And that's our agreement. And I told him, I literally was like, that's our deal. And I think if you treat people like treat him like it was your son, basically, right? And you wouldn't hire your son to come in here and scrub tubs every day of the week, knowing there's no success in it down the road, especially if he's not going to take over the business. But if he's going to maintain his grades and all that and go to school, then yes, he can work here. It's the opposite for my girl Katie. Katie breeds her own snakes. She knows all the secrets we do here. She knows all the projects I'm working on, and I have no secrets with her. And I can trust her with it. Again, I trust her with that whole facility. I trust her with all the animals over there. Everything we do.
What is Katie's main responsibility for Bob's balls?
So she feeds, cleans, and does some of the pairings. Like someday I'll send her a list. This male number 4 needs to go with female over here in this rack, or certain like things like that. So that's her job. She actually has a lot larger job than we imagined before, because there's a lot of work. When I go over there and I start feeding animals, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of animals. So to clean that many tubs, feed that many animals, and if you please would give, you guys watching, Engineered Ectotherms is their business. They do ball pythons, crested geckos, and hognoses. So just a little plug for them.
Nice. Respect. Now, how do you how often do you get like your food delivered to you, or how's that work for you? How do you get your produce for your snakes?
Okay, so we also own the rat facility over there, about 10 miles from here. My buddy runs a rat farm. We produce probably 4,000 or 5,000 rats a week, and we sell most of it. I just literally text them and say I need 200 rats, and they have it prepared for me. Come over here and then feed off. Mice is another problem in Georgia that we're having. I have 250 tubs of mice outside breeding. Most weeks we could produce most of our own stuff. Some weeks when the mice are slacking, then I order it in from Florida. I have a guy that drives down there and picks up for me.
Right.
He picks up 1,000 mice a week. He sells 900 of them to other people, and then he delivers whatever's left over to me usually. And I'll buy all the mice in the world because I'll double feed my stuff. I don't mind doing that. But yeah, all of our rodents are easy, man. Thank goodness for those guys over there, the rat farm, because I don't ever want to touch another rat rack.
And you don't have any ASFs in the diet program at all. It's all rats, right? We're talking just rats, or do you feed ASF?
We're in Georgia. No, Georgia has a weird law. We can't keep suffers in Georgia.
So yeah, I feel you. We're on the same level with that in Cali. Now I could tell you this: a couple podcasts ago, there was a little bit of a we had a topic about I had somebody on who was not swearing by it. Kind of sounded like it, but when I said he did, he was like, "No, I'm not. It's just what I heard." But like the whole females giving you higher production or better results when a female's on just a pure ASF diet versus a female eating rats. And there's, I don't know, but what do you think about that? I mean, have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, and I talked to a few breeders about it. I think one thing could be a factor is that maybe that female eats more consistently. Instead of a female on rats, because the fat content in a rat, they might skip every 5th meal, 6th meal, they'll skip 1 meal. But on a soffer, maybe it's a smaller meal, they're eating more consistently, they're not skipping as many meals, maybe they'll get bigger faster. I don't know. But honestly, all my stuff are on rats, and I get 12 eggs from girls that are 3 years old. I get and then sometimes we'll get a slug clutch. It happens. It's animals, they do what they do. And I wouldn't put too much weight on that, honestly. Georgia, and I don't know, however many states that don't allow soffers, and people get great production. So again, look at Jessica Bilka. He's in Georgia, so I know he doesn't use any soffers, and he gets amazing production over there. So
if you could kind of I know we're not mathematicians or anything, but off the top of your head, how many slugs do you feel like you get per egg? Like how many, what are you normally experiencing when it comes to you slugging, getting a slug egg, you think?
One out of every 400 eggs.
Wow. That's epic. Wow. And that's pretty consistent?
400 eggs, we get 1 egg. One slug.
And was it always like that for you, or did you feel like you had slugs more often in the beginning and you were able to just kind of like tune it to where slugs?
Oh, that was last year. So that was our numbers for last year. Last year we averaged 7.9 eggs per clutch, yada yada yada, and we hatched 7.4, 7.5 babies per clutch or something like that.
Right.
Stillborns or dead eggs or whatever.
Right.
On average. But the year in 2000 and might have been 17 or 16, I was running ambient heat in my building, and I ran it a little too warm. And that year, I got a lot of slugs. Like every, I don't know, maybe 100 eggs, we got slugs, 1 or 2 slugs per, on a clutch or something like that. I think I was running it way too warm. I talked to Winston Smith. He says, bump your temperature down 3 degrees. I sure enough did. I ran 84 degrees ambient for the rest of for the following year, and our slug count went all the way down. We switched back to belly heat. It went all the way down. Now we rarely see a slug. I had one girl the other day give me 4 slugs, so it kind of screwed up my average. But it happens, So
what are you gonna do? Yeah, because I was curious about that, because like I haven't had, let's see, my first year I had 7 clutches. No, my bad. My first year I had 4 clutches. Second year I had 8 clutches. And I didn't experience any slug. And then this year so far, I have 7 clutches in the incubator, and I've already had 2 slugs. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? But I'm just like, I'm like, huh, that's funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, But like, I was just curious if there was just something in the air, if it's just because they were first-time females. Because what I was going to lead to is, you have people who have a certain criteria as far as when they breed their female. I comfortably been breeding my females at like 1,300 grams. But then I've also talked to other breeders who are like, well, you're kind of holding them back, because if you just wait until they're like 1,800 grams, you're going to more likely get 10 eggs, 12 eggs versus just your 6 or 7 eggs. But what do you think of that? I mean, what do you
okay. So you breed a girl at 1,300 grams because she's ready. That's fine. Right. We ultrasound over here. So as soon as they got follicles, we breed them. And if you get 6 eggs on the first year and then 7 eggs on the next year, you still got 13 eggs. That's better than the guy that got 10 eggs.
Right.
But no, I think the male has more to do it than the female most of the time. Last year, we were extremely successful. Everything ran perfectly for us somehow. We had a 92% fertility rate. Basically, if we bred 100 girls, only 8 girls didn't lay eggs. And that's between my building and the other facility. Now, in the other facility, I hate to throw that number out there, but in the other facility, we're doing 250 clutches, something like that. So when you count out last year, I think we did 1,600 or 1,700 eggs or something like that total. I don't remember what the exact numbers were. But this year, we're going to do 250 clutches at least in that facility. Right. But I'm running all the numbers last year. We were extremely fortunate. I don't think it will happen again this year where we're getting 1 slug for every 400 eggs. I don't think those are realistic numbers. I think we're probably going to be closer to like 1 per 200 eggs or 300 eggs or whatever it is. But I think it has a lot to do with the males. We try not to breed our males super young. Certain males, like, everyone gets excited. You buy a $10,000 male, you're going to want to breed it when he's 500 grams. Right. But for the most part in the other facility, because we're doing such high volume, we need our males to be heavy. We need our males to be 800 grams, 900 grams, because he's got a long season. He's breeding 6, 7 females. He's got a long season to go. So we use more seasoned breeder males. We give them, their second winter before they're breeding. And I think that's where we got a lot of success last year, not getting slugs, was using seasoned males. I've noticed when you use your 450 and 500 gram males, you'll get a clutch of 10 eggs and 2 slugs or something like that more often.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Like, have you ever had a female kind of lay you 4 eggs one year and like 8 to 9 the next year, or do they kind of stay like in the same vicinity? Like, if it's single digits, it's always single digits, or can they fluctuate and give you fucking 10, 12 eggs one year? Like, have you ever had any of that kind of like fluctuations?
The fluctuation more depends on her size, right? So if you're breeding a 1,500 gram female, and I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. It's impossible to get 12 eggs out of a 1,500 gram female. It's just not possible, right? Because each egg, even if it weighs 50 grams, it's not physically possible. So you're breeding a 1,500 gram animal. And sure, there might be someone in the comment, I got 12 eggs out of my female. sure, you're a one-off, okay? If you're breeding a 1,500 gram female, she gives you 6 eggs, and next year she's 1,700 grams. She's still not going to give you 12 eggs. She's physically not large enough to do that. But if you're breeding a 1,500 gram female, she gets on food, she feeds strong, and you get her to 2,500 or 2,700 grams, then it's very possible next year she'll give you 11, 12 eggs. Some people are like, well, if a female only produces 8 eggs, it'll only produce 8 eggs. Sure. But physically, can a 1,500 gram female lay 12 eggs? Is my question in that. I don't know the science behind it, but you would think if each egg averages 75 to 80 grams, physically, she shouldn't be able to pass 12 eggs because that's most of her body weight. Right. But if your snake weighs 3,000 grams, can that snake give you 3 eggs? Sure. I've had that happen. I've had 3,000 gram girls give me 3 or 5 eggs. But it has a higher chance because she's a much larger animal. It's a lot easier to pass 12 80 gram eggs than a 1,500 gram animal was to. Now we're getting all into this math.
Man, this is what a mathematicianal fucking episode.
Yeah, you have the Asian guy on. What did you expect?
No calculation, no calculator needed. We're just giving out accurate numbers.
Yeah. My abacus.
Yeah, it just because it's always just stands out in my head. Like, is this female always going to give me 4 eggs? Is she always just going to give me 7 eggs? But I feel like weight definitely has some sort of like something to do with it. But like you said, why should you wait for it to get to 2,000 grams when you could perfectly get a healthy clutch at 1,300 grams?
And she'll absorb if she's not ready to breed. Right. Females, fortunate part for ball pythons, if they didn't want to produce eggs, they just won't produce eggs. They would just absorb it. If their environment's not right, they'll just absorb their eggs. So because of ultrasound technology, we can really check a 1,400 gram 3-year-old female and be like, oh my God, she has 15 millimeter follicles. We need to breed her. Right. I have 2,000 gram females that have no follicles. They're just not mature enough. You can fatten a snake up as fast as you want. If they don't develop, they just won't develop. So I think because of technology, and now that we know what we know, that 1,500 gram mark was literally a benchmark for us to tell new breeders, hey, don't breed it until it's 1,500 grams, because we don't want every ding dong out there to pair up 1,300 gram skinny 18-month animals. Because I've gotten animals to 1,500 grams in 18 months. If an animal eats good, it can get to 1,500 grams in 18 months. That doesn't mean she needs to be laying eggs, So I think that 1,500 gram thing was just a kind of like, hey, just to prevent dummies from making mistakes.
Yeah. And you have no problem breeding every female like every year. Like, you've had girls lay you like 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row, or do you typically like to give them a break?
As long as the female bounces back after laying eggs and she eats good, we breed them. As long as she got follicles, we breed them. If they're healthy, they feel healthy. You can touch a ball python and tell if it's healthy weight or not. I have 3,000 gram girls that might not be fat. Like, they can be big, heavy girls, but they don't have the fat reserve because they didn't bounce back very well. They might only eat twice a month or whatever the situation is. But as long as they're coming back strong, they eat all their meals, we go ahead and breed them.
Right. And then here's another topic that I want to, because somebody just asked right now, and I don't mind mentioning it because, like, I'm not like I am super to my heart dedicated to my newspaper substrate, because it just, A, I'm in my room all the time. B, if it smells, I don't mind switching it out. You know what I mean? But then you have people who die hard, swear by, cocoa substrate, aspen, substrate, right? But do you feel like the substrate, it has a huge part on a female giving you a healthy clutch, or do you feel like the substrate's more like a preference or demographic to help a snake shed? Like, what do you feel like the substrate really plays in when it comes to like breeding ball pythons?
Substrate, I think is 90% preference. Remember that in Europe, I think a lot of those guys use liners and they get perfectly good clutches. And then again, where you are, if you're in Arizona and it's dry as hell, you're going to want some cocoa and put some water in it. If you're in Arizona and you use water, if you use paper, I don't even know how your snakes shed. But in Georgia, I use cocoa. It works perfectly. My eggs are coming out good. I've used paper before. I used unprinted newspaper before, butcher paper. I've used the liners before. I have used pretty much every type of substrate. I've used aspen. I've used cypress. I've used what is cypress? Cypress mulch. Yeah, I know guys who still use cypress mulch because they prefer it. So the substrate is more, in my opinion, your preference. I just prefer the cocoa because it's not as dusty as aspen. When I was using aspen, my racks were getting too dusty. I just didn't like the look, and it was molding. I didn't like that. And then with paper, because we have 500 animals in here, if only 10% of them took a shit today, this room would smell really bad.
And that's the thing, you know, and you know, like I said, if I was somebody, like I had this conversation with my homie Stephen Cush, because Stephen, like, you know, he was on paper for a while because he had a mite problem for a little bit. So he cut all the substrate out, which is smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a mite problem, like you definitely want to just fucking put everything on paper until every fucking mite is gone, right? So he killed that problem, went, you know, and went a long time without any mites. Everything was good. So like, and I remember like he had everything on paper when I visit, and I went 6 months later and he started putting stuff on substrate again. And I was like, why are you putting stuff on substrate? And he's like, well, you know, he was like, I'm not in here every day. Like the whole paper thing, like it reeks, you know what I mean? And when they all go, you know, and it smells. And like I said, if I weren't somebody who wasn't so often in my room and I don't have, you know, I have the time, I'll go ahead and fucking place that paper, but I don't leave it for sure because it reeks. Like paper, you know, urates, all that shit on a paper, you smell right away, and it kind of stays with the paper. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's gnarly. But I feel like it's all preference because, you know, I had everything on cocoa chip, and I thought it looked beautiful. I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, I love taking pictures of a snake on cocoa chip, but I would get complete sheds on newspaper and cocoa chip. I would get beautiful eggs on newspaper and cocoa chip. I don't know why, but I just prefer to get a clutch of eggs on newspaper. That's just I feel like everything I'm talking about and thinking about substrate is all preference. I don't think that it's like, you know, like for instance, like, you know, how we have to change water, like you have to change the water, you know, but I feel like the substrate is like, oh my God, you have newspaper, like you're a fucking neglector, like you're neglecting, you know what I mean? I feel like it's this preference at the end of the day.
You know, that's funny that you said that because back in like, I don't know, 4 years ago when we started using cocoa, they were saying I was neglecting my snakes because I use cocoa. Because on video, I don't know, maybe it's my fault. On live video, I admitted to it. I only do a full change once a month. Everything gets a full change once a month. Everything gets spot cleaned every week, but everything gets a full change once a month. If you're full changing every single animal every single week, I don't know what you're doing with the rest. I mean, there's no time in the world. And people were saying we're neglecting our animals because we only do full change every month. We do a full change every time an animal sheds, usually. If it sheds, dump it, you know, pretty much is what we do here. And spot cleaning, that's a daily thing in here. I mean, everyone has to be spot cleaned pretty much, but that's what employees are for, thank goodness. But paper, when people were like mentioning that paper was neglect, well, that group that crucified me for using cocoa, they were saying they change their paper every 2 days. Honestly, I don't know what else. I mean, unless you are that dedicated, you change your paper every day or every 2 days. And again, like you said, you live in that, you live in there. So then it's fine. But you know, you have to be dedicated to that if you use paper, honestly, if you have a large amount of animals.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm not, like I said, this might all change when I hit 50, 60 clutches, if that ever goes down, you know, but I'm approaching 20 clutches, you know, and I still feel like I'm in a good place with my newspaper, you know, but I do see how like substrate would be like, you know, I have some of my scrub pythons on cocoa chip, and I feel like, I don't feel like they're like happier, but for some reason, I feel like they're meant to be more on substrate like cocoa chip than newspaper. But then you look at my chondros. I feel like chondros are way better on puppy pads or newspaper than substrate. You know what I mean? Because
they don't sit on it.
Right. You know, they don't. But if it's one thing about substrate, like the cocoa chip that kind of bothered me is because I go fast. Like, and that's my problem sometimes. I work a little too quick. So when there's times where you spot clean, you don't always get everything that you think you got. Right. And I feel like I would get mites with fucking cocoa chips. And the only time I ever experienced mites was with cocoa chips. And I remember every time I fucking checked a tub that had mites, there was some old crusty ass shit that was stuck at the tub that I never got. And I'm like, dude, where did this come from? Like, have you even seen shits that have maggots in it? Like, it's disgusting. Like, there's been some gnarly shits that snakes do where if you don't catch it, it could turn into a mess. and you can't miss a shit on a paper like at all.
Right.
Like it's there.
Right.
So that's why it just I want to make my life easier.
Right. And I think the issue here is that a lot of people who use cocoa don't know how old some of that cocoa is. You could be sitting, that cocoa could be sitting for 4 months. Right. So that's why we come up with the rule that if it shits, it gets dumped. Or if it shits all over the tub, like some snakes just like to smear the tub with shit, then take it out. If I can see poop on the side of a tub, if I can look at a tub and tell that snake just took a shit, it needs to come out. And again, my employee here knows how particular I am with the building, how it looks. We have guests come over a lot, stuff like that. So, and I tell him, if I have to open a tub and get embarrassed by it, it needs to be changed. So that again, that's why I trust my employee with it. He knows that if I get embarrassed by a tub, boy, I don't have a temper. No, I don't have a temper. But I never want to have to open a tub and there be shit smeared on the side of the tub. If there's fresh shit, no big deal. It happens. But if I go in there and there's 2 piles of shit, there's a problem.
Yeah. If it's crusty, you're musty. You know what I mean? It's not going down. I'll tell you one thing that I do, and I'm openly cool to fucking talk about it because it's my thing. Like you have some people who like to spray down really good before pairing and like get it real nice and moist in there. I do that, right? But I feel like I'm not so anal about like scrubbing clean a tub when it comes to pairing of snakes. I don't mind if it's a little dirty in there. Like what I'll do is like, how you pick up a shit and there's like a little bit of white stuff, like the urate, like the little rock, like the rock urates that get stuck to the corner of the tub. Like I'll low key just leave that shit in there just so the male gets fucking all like excited. I feel like the male wants to smell that. Like like I said, it's only for my breeding females. Like, so
when you breed snakes, it gets dirty anyways. I think I opened a tub the other day and the female had already shit all over that male. Like, he got shit all over him. There was stuff everywhere. And what are you supposed to do at that point? Take the tub out, scrub it, and put them in a new tub? You just messed all that whole pairing up. So you open a tub, there's shit in there. She already sprayed her urates everywhere. This female had scented the whole tub. Yeah. We just left them. The next day, they were locked up. Very next day, we take the male out, scrub the whole tub, give her a new tub. Again, it's part of the breeding process. If you're going to go and open a tub and see urates and have to clean it right away, this might not be for you because females are going to spray that tub when you put the male in. If they're breeding, it gets a little messy 90% of the time.
A lot of the time. Oh man,
a lot of the time.
Especially when the water gets knocked over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes and let's be real. There's sometimes pairings you don't check the next day, and you're like, oh fuck, like what's happening with this? And you go, holy shit, it's a fucking
there's shit smeared everywhere. Yep.
Fucking weirdos. They're getting really weird in there. Fucking, you know what I mean? But no, at the end of the day, I feel like do what works for you. Like the whole this all relates to preference. I feel like because like I said, people, there's so many, there's no wrong or right when it comes to like, what your snake lays on. Obviously, if it's, not glass or some shit, but I'm just saying, like, I've had so many different breeders, like really fucking successful breeders have all different types of substrate that they put their snakes on. So
whatever works for you, man, whatever works for you. Might it come to affordability, humidity, ease of cleaning, you don't have enough time in the world, whatever it is, whatever works for you and your animals, whatever's best for you and your animals. I don't ever tell people what they're doing is wrong, because if it works, then it's obviously working for them. As long as the animals are healthy, I really don't care what you do with your animals, man.
How often are you finding a female not laying for you? Like skipping a year or anything like that? Is that common for you at all, Bob?
Like I said, last year we did 93% fertility. So it just depends on this year. We're probably looking at closer to a normal average, which is 85%. So when we're ultrasounding and we're throwing a male in, and again, I only pair, and this is like, I don't know why this was such a big secret back then when I was asking all these breeders. I only pair my snakes after the female's past 12 millimeters. A female goes past 12 millimeters, she'll see a male. When she's at 20 millimeters or better, she'll see her male the second time. And usually, I only pair twice. And then if she only grows to like 25 millimeters and she grows slowly, I'll pair one more time to get a third lock. About more than 50% of my females have gotten 2 locks this year and got laid eggs. I think the ultrasounding technology, with the way with what we know, with females. It's increased our breeding rates a lot. This year, I think I'm down to about 85% to 90%. We haven't got our numbers obviously because we only have 1/3 of our stuff already out, but we're gonna be closer to that 85%. I think the reason is because we moved last year. We moved a lot of our animals. Some of our animals are younger from our holdbacks, but 85 is a very reasonable number for most people to expect.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, like I'm in a position where I'm buying a new house soon. Like I'm purposely like, you know, the landlord's being really cool where I'm at. I'm telling her, look, I have like this amount of eggs. Like I have stuff still hatching. So she's like, that's cool. She's like, I'll let you have that till like March. But like, you know, realistically, I could move all my adults, things I'm not breeding out sooner. But like, I mean, what's your advice to where like if you had a time frame to move your animals, is it best to do it before you start pairing? Does it not matter? Like, is it like, you know, like where's like the cutoff where it's like, all right, this is where if their snakes are doing this, it's not best to move them or shit.
Right. So remember, I do this for a living, so the move was a lot more methodical. We bought this house in June, and then we were ready to move in around. We were ready to move in this week last year. This day last year was when I moved the animals in. Actually, Facebook reminded me. So the way we moved it was every single female that was 25 or better millimeters in follicle size, which means they're getting close to being done. We went ahead and moved them to my other facility, which is 10 miles away from this house. So if they're ready to move, they're ready for eggs, and they've already had pre-lay shed, whatever, they went ahead and moved. Every animal 25 millimeters and under, we moved all in one night. We had a 26-foot box truck with a lift gate. We pushed all the racks in, and then we pushed it down the driveway and right into this room. I would never suggest anyone moving a female that's ovulating or post-ovulation. So last year, beginning of June, when we first bought the house, every animal, as it gets to 25 millimeters, we went ahead and moved it to the new facility. And every single female laid eggs healthy and everything. So I would suggest if you were to plan a big move, do not move your females that are ovulating or getting close to ovulation or past 25 millimeters. That won't be good for them.
So if you haven't even gotten to the point where you're pairing, you're in a good place, is what you're saying.
Right. If you're moving in the wintertime, it's perfect. It just so happened for me, I moved in freaking August, so which is the prime of our egg laying and all of that.
And that's my, you know, right, like we're kind of later, like because I'm in the West Coast, so I'm like everything that happens for you kind of happens a little later for me, right, because of the demographic and whatnot. So right. I'm like October, like we're, you know, technically I told her about November, December is when we could be out, but I still have eggs dropping in November and December, like, you know what I mean? So, but I feel like that's literally when all my last clutches are going to be laying, is around that time, which I feel like, you know, December, January.
If all of your clutches are already late, then it's perfect. You know, with us, we were moving when the peak of the season, and I didn't really. I mean, I do have a choice, but you know, I wanted to get out of that house, get it fixed up, to get ready to rent it out, and I had just finished the snake room. I really wanted to get into it and move up here closer in my rat source and all that. And my wife had just accepted a new job up here near a hospital closer up here. So we wanted everything to move smoothly. And so as long as you have if you have this is where the mentor plays, right? If you have a mentor that's willing to take your animals in before they lay, you know, like 25 millimeters is great. You know, I sent all my animals up here. We had 40 females sitting up here waiting to lay eggs, which was perfect. So.
Damn, respect. Have you ever transported eggs like from incubator to a different incubator? Like when you has it ever happened to you before?
I did that in 2015 when I moved from my previous house to my old house. We moved the whole incubator. However, we did have somewhere to plug the incubator in the truck. So we went ahead and plugged it in so that it stayed warm, and we drove it from one house to the other. All the eggs hatched perfectly. Didn't have any problems. But it was only 1 hour. It was only 1 hour away. It's not like I moved like across state or something.
Okay,
right?
Cool. Respect. So that didn't do too much of a big, it didn't have too much of an effect on the eggs. Clearly, like they were able to hatch.
Right. Everything hatched just fine. So eggs are very resilient. I've seen now they're resilient to cooler temperatures. So let's say you had a power shortage, or your power goes out for 10 hours, and your temperature in your incubator drops down to 82 degrees for 10 hours. They'll hatch. They'll be fine. If you bump it back up, they'll be fine. You increase that temperature to 95 degrees for 2 hours, you're frying all your eggs. But if you drop the temperature from 90 or 89 to 80 degrees for a few hours, it's no problem. The snakes are, again, ball pythons are the same way. They're extremely resilient to the cold. They can't handle the heat. Like, you can take a ball python and you can drop a ball python down to 40 degrees overnight, right? Shipping. You drop it into 40 degrees. It could be frozen solid when you receive the animal. You leave it to thaw out slowly and put it in a rack. It does perfectly fine the very next day. You put a ball python in a box, it goes to 100 degrees for 2 hours. You open that box, the snake's dead. So ball python and their eggs, I feel like, are very resilient to the cool temperature. But if you overheat them, boom, they die instantly. So
I have like, as you know, I still have more topics I want to cover with you, Bob. But one thing I'm feeling everything about this podcast, but I'm not feeling the likes right now. I don't understand how there's been a consistent 100, like 6 to 100, 113 people watching and only 80 something likes. We're not going to do this to my man, Bob. We need to get the likes up right now, or I will take this shit to Patreon page and I'll ask the rest of these topics. I don't want to do this because Bob is so player and he's helpful. So right now, let's get the likes up for my man, Bob, if you guys don't mind. Sorry, I
think it's because we've been ranting for like 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think most of their people have already stopped watching, or their attention span. They're like, man, this guy's boring.
It jumped up because we were at 90 for a minute, and then it like went from 90 to 115. So I mean, like, clearly there's motherfuckers in here. They just forget. It's all good. It's a little friendly reminder. It's all it is. It's Bob Vu. We're gonna like it for Bob Vu, and you could give a dislike. Bob doesn't care about a dislike either. Give him a dislike if you need it.
Oh God, I'm so sensitive, bro.
It does not affect him.
I know it affects me a lot, bro. I'm so sensitive. I did an interview with mixology, morph mixology, and I got 3 dislikes on that thing. Mary was like, it's not a big deal. You got like 200 likes. I'm like, yeah, but 3 people didn't like that interview. Like, what the hell did I say on that interview? I'm so sensitive.
I feel like, you need to have at least a ratio of 1 or 2, 3, something like dislikes, because like that means at least there's somebody connected to what you're doing.
There's got to be a hater. There's got to be a hater somewhere.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man? I mean, if like I said, if you're not getting hated on, then you're not doing enough work. And
they're like, look at this guy talking about money and shit. Ugh.
Let me ask you this: do you have anybody that, and I don't want names, but do you have anybody that you're still friends to this day, that it could have went the other way because he kind of showed a little bit of ounce of hate, and like maybe you guys were tight at some point, but because of your growth and maybe you outgrew them, like it caused a little bit of distance. Have you had a lot of experience or any kind of experience being in this hobby? And while you talk on that, I'm gonna take a quick piss.
You're good. So I'll tell the interview the viewers about this. I have had a local breeder that I was mentoring personally. And he was starting to feel some success and then started to build up. And I made the unfortunate mistake of telling him to be careful to not grow too fast. And he took that very personally. He felt as if I used that to limit his growth, I guess. And because he was being successful, he did his first 50 clutches very successful, and I told him to be careful to grow too fast, because I was starting to see the spiral. I was starting to see when I go over there that certain animals, water wasn't clean, tubs weren't clean, stuff like that, and animals weren't being fed on a regular basis. He was starting to bring skinny animals to shows.
Right.
So I made the unfortunate mistake of telling this certain breeder to slow down. And he took that very personally. We no longer talk. We are friends on Facebook. We see what we post. He probably is watching the video and gave me a dislike. He did later on thank me for it, because he did accumulate way too many animals.
Right.
And I told him the reason I told him to slow down wasn't to hinder his growth. I was just making sure that the animals were taken care of and that his family was taken care of. I didn't want him killing himself in the snake room 80 hours a week and not be able to enjoy this. And I made the mistake. I think maybe I worded it wrong. I don't know what the exact issue was there. Or maybe he just felt like I got jealous. And I'll tell people right now, I don't really get jealous of people very often, not very easily, only when I'm at the gym. Honestly, I probably don't feel much jealousy in the reptile industry. I feel most of it in the gym. But please understand that 99% of the time, if I give you advice, it's coming from a good place.
Right.
And that I just want people to do better for the snakes, honestly.
I mean, if I could relate to you in any way, like I tell people, and I don't mean to be a dick, but a lot of people come with me with ball python questions, and I'm not like, ball python's a foundation, but I don't fucking nerd and geek out over ball pythons. What I mean by that, when you ask me about stranger gene, acid, all this shit, and should I invest in it, I can't give you an honest answer, and I don't like to cap. I don't like to lie. Okay, but there are other inquiries I get where I do have the knowledge, and I do feel like I could help you with that. And that's like with the chondros, like so many people want to get into chondros, like I want an arboreal snake, and and like, how much, where should I get one? And I direct them, and they see that it's like $1,500, $2,000. It's not cheap, right? And then they go like, oh, well, check this out. I found this one for $400. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? But then they still do it. You know what I mean? And that right there is frustrating because, dude, it's like clockwork. The motherfuckers who feel like they could go a faster route by spending less money on an older animal that such and such had. And bro, the chondro game is dirty because they're claiming everything's United States captain born and bred. They're claiming everything's clean. Like I've had to help numerous Patreon members stop what they were doing and get like Nido test results. Like, dude, no, you're not buying that right now. And I look out for my Patreon members. That's why you should join that. But I'm just saying, like, dude, like I don't know, man. Like, have you ever gotten frustrated with like advice that you've given that obviously people have not taken, but then they come back for more advice? I mean, have you had that happen to you at all?
All the time. So I'm a ball python nerd. I'm the opposite of you. Like that's all I do is read, research, and talk to other ball python breeders all day. Dave Levinson is a very good friend of mine, and I bounce a lot of ideas off of him because they have such a massive collection over there. So I get a lot of info from him, what's moving, what's breeding, and I have a hand on the pulse of the ball python market because I'm at every show. I'm on Morph Market every single day. I sell a lot of animals. So when people message me for advice and go, hey, bro, should I invest in this project? This is a $10,000 animal or a $500 animal, whatever it is, I'll give you my honest opinion. Even if I don't own that project or whatever, I can tell you, boom, I hate that project because of this. And I'll tell you my honest advice. I told a guy straight up today, I don't want to get into this project because this guy is working it and I don't like that guy or whoever, whatever, right? So when I tell you something, and then I always get this message, hey, bro, I bought the snake. What is it? Like they'll buy this animal, and it's like some 5-gene animal,
right?
And then they ask me what it is, and I was like, "Why didn't you ask me 2 days ago before you bought the snake?" So, and I get that a lot, and then I get the, "Hey, I know I shouldn't have done this, but blah blah blah," and then they'll show me a pairing that I literally told them not to do, and now they have 8 white snakes that they can't ID because both parents are 5 genes and both of them have fire in them. So now they have a shit ton of white snakes and go, hey, can you help me ID these? And I'm like, I kind of told you not to do that. But again, it's frustrating. But again, it's just pretend like this is a draft, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to be busts, and then some people will train and take your advice and do great. And just celebrate the ones that win. Just celebrate the ones that do well. That's all you can do.
And I feel like those are the ones you invest in, are the ones who like not only celebrate their wins, but they celebrate other people's wins too. Like I always talk about Miguel because he was the one who was like showing off my first clutches and like literally helping me celebrate like the shit. I was so happy. He didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like nobody has to share anything. And I feel like that's another thing where a lot of new people get comfortable feeling like you have to share their stuff, or hey, why don't you like I have people who say like, hey, how I need to talk to you. Can you call me? Like, motherfucker, do you think I'm just here like, hey, yeah, let me babe, sorry, I don't want to go in the room with you right now. I gotta call this guy that I don't even know. And it's funny, a lot of these guys don't even follow you and they want to talk to you. And I'm like, to me,
by the way, don't ever call me. Don't ask if I can call you. Message me or text me because I will get to you after I'm done with whatever I'm doing. I don't have the time to sit there and talk to you for 45 minutes about whatever it is, like message me and I will get back to you. 99% of the time I'll respond unless you ask something ridiculous. But yeah, I feel like and people, boomers, I would say the word boomers, they get mad when you don't call them. But I'm like, bro, we have things to do. I will message you a whole essay. I type very fast. I'll message you a whole essay, in
Yeah.
a few hours, and I'll get back to you, and we'll continue that conversation. I
Right.
can't just drop what I'm doing and call you, and then I don't like calling people, and people get mad about this. I don't like calling people because I don't remember what I say. I like to have a message because I will refer back to it later. I'll scroll through and be like, I've already told him this. And then people hate that because I'll screenshot it, what I already told you, and then just send that back to you. I'll be like, I've already told you this before,
Right.
so.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there are people who do want to do great in this. And, I like I said, the guy who had a conversation with about like, how can I get more connected with bigger people? I feel like at some point when we're in this, we get inside our own heads, like no matter what. And I feel like when you're kind of thinking, well, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not doing good. And you look around and you have healthy animals and you are doing stuff. That's when you need to just step back, maybe not be on social media for a little bit, because social media breaks are definitely fucking neat. Like you need to do that every now and then, and stay connected however you want. But like, there's people who are on there checking stories, just like really in it, and like you don't need to be that in it. You know what I mean? Like it's not that.
Do you think that they get jealous? Not so much jealous, right? So you're doing good. Like you're doing good. Yeah. Right. Like it's like almost people like you have a good looking wife, but then you go online and be like, but he has a better looking wife. Dude, like you're doing good, bro. Just go home to your wife, and go home to your snakes. You have good snakes. Stop looking at what Ozzy posted and get mad about it. Like just do what you do and acknowledge that these guys have been doing it for 30 years. So it's like this. I guess those guys need to just learn to appreciate what they have and what they're doing. Appreciate the good job that they're doing, and then when they want to meet these new breeders, just reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, man, I want to go to a show with you." It makes it so much easier than just sitting there getting mad at that you're not doing as good of these guys that are on Facebook or whatever. And I can't do a social media break because I'm a Facebook whore. So
that's where I'm at too. But sometimes I just need to, like, I had to cut away. Like I had to back up off my Patreon for a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Just because like, I just don't want to get too involved on that, like, topics on stuff. That's what I do the podcast for. You know what I mean? And like, and if it's one thing, like, I always rant about like, oh, I'm right all the time on like, predicting shit. But there's one thing I predict that I wish I didn't predict, man. But Bob Smith, my whole Bob Smith thing, right? Which is terrible because you're Bob Vu, which is the Bob Vu, the only Bob I really, really fucking hear and fuck with, right? But the whole Bob Smith thing turned out to be like, he's a real person. And it turns out that this Bob Smith who wrote this letter to my sponsor to drop me and all this stuff turned out to be a person really close to me. Like, dude, this shit aired out. Like, it turned out that Bob Smith is real. Like, it's not just a made up person. I will never put this person's real name out there. I don't give a fuck, but it just goes to show you how this shit really works. Jealousy is a fucking real disease. It's terrible. And it could be so close to you where you don't even see it. But some people can't handle other people's success. Like they just can't handle it to the point where they expose themselves. And that's what happened.
And again, I hate to bring negativity into any of this, but the person that reported my Facebook business page was actually a very good friend of mine. 3-4 years ago, we're very good friends.
Right.
And because all of this grew so fast, I don't know what happened. And I'll find out he reported my business page like 5 times and got it shut down. So.
Right. What do you know?
Yeah, right.
And at the end of the day, like, I was, instead of just being mad and can't wait to see this motherfucker, blah, 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 like what I was thinking, he's probably going through a lot of shit. Like he is probably so deep into his head with some shit. And it's unfortunate because this guy does work with amazing animals. He's very knowledgeable, has great experience. I respect the shit out of him still to this day. No matter what he thinks of me, no matter what he tells other people, I still respect this guy. But people go through shit, man. And sometimes it could just really get into what they're good at and overshadow everything and just shit on it, man. And it sucks because at the end of the day, it's about the animals. It's not about what MJ's doing. It's about what I'm bringing. I'm bringing Bob Vu, who has knowledge in this shit and is here to share information. That's all I'm doing continuously. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what are you going to do, man? And you know what, Bob? Like, you're somebody who I could see that's going up the ladder, your own ladder. When I say ladder, no one else's ladder, but Bob's own ladder. And, I'm sure the hate's not going to stop for you either. Even though you're somebody who's been in this for a while, there's still lurkers. There's still the people. Fuck.
Just waiting.
Just waiting for you to fuck up. Yeah.
Yep.
but it's just not in your blood. It's not in your fucking, it's not in what Bob Vu does. And that's why you're somebody I highly respect. And you know what's crazy is I want to say it's because the people you surround yourself with, your wife, your team, like it's not just you doing this, man. It's who you have in your fucking circle. And that's for sure.
Right.
110%.
Right. I mean, none of this would be possible without the people, right? I mean, every breeder knows it's not possible without all your customers and all the supporters and people you communicate with every single day. So yeah, for sure.
And can we shout out to the wives real quick? Shout out to your wife. We didn't, I remember the story of how she let you invest into this dream that you're living right now. Like she gave you the green light, just how my wife did. You know what I mean?
Right. So could you imagine, like, so when she first met me, I was pursuing her. I was in a suit and tie every single day going to work. I pulled up to her house in, my little sports car in a suit and tie, in a briefcase with my laptop in it every single day. I took her out on dates in a suit and tie. And then now this is literally what I wear every single day. Like this is what she gets to see every single day. And I go to shows every week, every few weekends, and she gets to put up with that. All the crazy stories and whatever, and getting to tell all her friends at the hospital that her husband breeds snakes for a living, make a comfortable living. So that helps.
Man. I cannot tell you, like, my wife, she works at home. So there's a lot of fucking meetings that she does on the computer. And I could always hear when they're talking about my animals. Like, you know what I mean? Right. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they go, what? How many snakes does he have? No way. You have alpacas? Like, it's just like, oh, man. It's like, bro, animals always win. I don't give a fuck. You start talking about animals and then you show your animals, people look at you differently, man.
Right.
Oh, my God. Fuck, Bob. Well, listen, this has been an amazing round 2. I've taken up a lot of your time. I appreciate you. One thing you do need to go through that I double checked to make sure you didn't go through was the hot seat questions. I gotta serve you with these hot seat questions, and then we could close up the chapter on this round 2, and then I'll see you at Daytona. And I cannot wait to meet you at Daytona again. It's gonna be amazing. I met you at Arlington, but I've never seen you at Daytona, so I can't wait to see the vibe there. It's gonna be amazing.
All right, very cool.
All right, hot seat questions for Bob Vu. Bob, I don't think you're going to be a JP and give me an explanation for every answer. You could just.
I'll try not to.
If you don't have to, it's up to you. Either way. Okay. We're going to go in hot for my homie Bob Vu. Here we go. Hot seat questions. Frozen thought or live?
Live. I have too many animals to do frozen thought.
Okay. A cut or no cut?
You said A cups? I prefer C cups. Oh. Oh. Cuts.
Hey, are you an A cutter or no cutter?
Oh yeah, I'm a cutter, dude. I'm a cutter. Okay. I love it.
Big flexor or no flexor?
Flexor.
All right.
I didn't understand the question actually.
Big flexor or no flexor? Are you somebody who likes to flex like your accomplishments and whatnot? Like exactly.
Bro, the road. I'm a Facebook whore, man. I post everything. Everything that's cool we had, I post it.
With all due respect, Bob is probably one of the hardest flexors in the game, and I wish we had that Versace robe thumbnail we were supposed to pull off.
Oh God, yeah, I wish we would.
Round three. Right, look at that. That's a flex.
Round 3.
Round 3. There you go.
Okay.
Get ready for round 3. All right, steak or fish?
Steak.
All right, Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Who is that? A band?
All right, Tupac or Biggie?
Oh God, see. Okay, I'm not going to go into super far into this explanation, but would you put those guys as GOATs if they didn't die? If they didn't die, would they be one of the best of all time?
Well, I mean, I think to me, I have more favorite rappers other than Tupac and Biggie, but I do feel like because of their death, they are on that pedestal of the greatest of all time. I
feel like a lot of people put him on like Biggie. I love Tupac. I mean, but Biggie, I feel like he was a great rapper, but if he didn't die, would he have been as great of a rapper in people's opinion? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyways, that's controversial.
He didn't have that many hits, I don't think, but he did have hits. But what would you, if you had to pick one or the other, who would you pick?
I'll take Tupac.
Tupac. Okay, respect. Yeah. East Coast rap or West Coast rap?
East Coast. Come on, man.
Okay, favorite East Coast rapper?
Oh, God. I'm from Georgia, so I'm probably going to have to pick a Georgia guy. I'm going to go with... I would go with a little older. Oh god, that's not even old school. Ludacris is not old school, right?
He's so
That's
old
not
school, bro.
right. That's like
Oh my god. Southern Hospitality. That was like 2001,
right.
2002,
I was like, I'm
bro.
trying to think, is that old or not? I'm like,
Oh,
ooh.
dude.
Oh
Oh my
wait, I'm gonna
god.
go with my. I
That
like
was a
Mike
good album.
Shinoda. I don't know if I should. Mike Shinoda's good because he's half Asian, so that counts, right? I should pick
Respect.
him.
Respect to
Yeah,
the Asian community. All right, cool. Ball python or royal python?
ball python. Yeah,
Okay, respect. Little word association. First thing to come to mind: milk.
dud. Oh, that's bad. Like
Cocoa.
husk. What?
Substrate.
Cocoa.
Repticon.
Trash.
Stuck shed. Did I say that?
Oh god. Yeah, I don't even know that there's a word for that. Not around here.
Not around here. Instagram trolls.
I don't have any. No one trolls my Instagram. Honestly, people troll my Facebook. No one trolls my Instagram.
Can somebody please start trolling this guy on Instagram?
Right? It's so weird. Like no one trolls
fuck?
my Instagram. Just Facebook.
Jesus. All right. Very important question, Bob, because you are the future of this hobby, clearly. So I got to know, man, if you had to pick one to disappear forever, and I mean forever, Instagram or Facebook, which one's going to go?
Instagram's gonna go. I love Facebook too much, bro. I live.
I
I live.
all
on
your
Facebook.
all your homies are on Facebook.
Yeah, I love Facebook too much. And I make so many memes. I just hate that I sell so many snakes on Instagram. Like I can post it with a price tag, no one cares. On Facebook, dude, I have to watch everything I say. That's starting to become annoying. Like the other day, I got dinged and a 24-hour ban because I told someone to send nudes.
Well, I mean, come on, man, spiff it up. Be more professional, Bob. Really? I'm just kidding.
And I was actually referring to noodles. That's the worst part.
Dude, did I tell you our last episode got flagged because I had Bob's as a title, and I was like,
Right.
that's the name of his reptile company. And so they're like,
Right.
oh, and then they unflagged it. And so like our episode wasn't viewed for like 2-3 days because of that. Like,
Right. So I mean,
that might
it's so
happen again.
sensitive.
Yeah, so
Right. You remember when Facebook was like wide open, dude? I remember
Oh,
Facebook was
yeah.
wide open. There were like naked people groups and all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, straight out of MySpace, straight to MySpace.
Right.
To Facebook,
Right.
man.
Jeez.
Shit was raw back then, bro.
Oh, I need my top 16 friends back.
Hey, Bob, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while since I've had an episode with consistent over 100 viewers. So it's been an amazing episode. But I can tell you right now, you have a lot of fucking supporters out there, people who fuck with you, people who can't wait to see you at Daytona. So what do you have to say to all your supporters out there, man?
Love you guys. I will see you guys next weekend in Daytona. On Friday at 8:30, I will be the guest speaker at the USARC meeting in the Hilton, one of the rooms. I don't know which room it is. So show up for that. USARC support needs our support. I'll be discussing membership and options and raising money. I'll be following after Eugene Bassett, who is a very good speaker. He yells at you the whole time about USARC. And following me will be Michael Cole, another great Michael Cole, the famous Michael Cole from Ball Python, from Python Hunters on Animal Planet. So next weekend, come out and support us. If you're not a USARC member, all 100 of you, please go join USARC. They have memberships starting at $5 a month, $40 a year, whatever you want to do. And I will see you at the next Show Me Reptile show. I will be in Arlington, Texas next month, and I will hopefully be in Tinley if we don't get canceled. I'm hoping we don't get canceled.
Day by day. Let's see what happens.
Day by day. Love you guys.
Thank you, man. I'll see you next weekend. All right.
All right, man. I'll see you next week. Buy you a drink.
Babu! Later, man.
All right.
Wow. What a round two. Fucking nailed it. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you to all the viewers. You guys are amazing, man. Look, consistent over 105 viewers in the book for my little old YouTube channel. Capone, shut up. My bad. But yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you for all the support. You guys are just like nonstop awesome just to be here, to watch Bob spit some advice. And if you are going to Daytona next weekend, please let me know. I would love to link up with you. I will be there Saturday for sure. And I will be at the USARC, auction and whatnot. Before I let you guys go, I got something in the mail and I completely forgot to shout it out. And I love it when you guys send me stuff in the mail. It means a lot because you guys are spending your time and your money to fucking, send it to me. So got a Canadian package here. I didn't really kind of pre-see what the hell this is. So let's see what this is. Okay, let's shout out who it is real quick. Oh, wow, there's a note too. Maybe I could read it this time. Let's see. All right, so we have a package here from Canadian Empire Exotics. All right, so shout out to Canadian Empire Exotics. Thank you so much. Go follow them. I like the quality of your stickers. Respect. All right, I think I could read this handwriting. So let's see. Hopefully there's nothing disrespectful or dirty in here. Let's see. Dear MJ, we are big fans of your Trap Talk podcast. Thank you for all the ball python knowledge you make available for all of us, all of us small breeders. Here is a custom tumbler with a special lid along with one of our t-shirts to say thank you for the happiness and knowledge you brought to us. We wish the best of luck in your upcoming project. Sincerely, Brad and Marissa, Canadian Empire Exotics. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see what this tumbler looks like, because I like my coffee. If you know me, I fuck with my coffee. Whoa, this is sick. I thought I broke that shit. Wow. All right, let's see what's up with this. Let's check it out. Damn, I like purple. Purple's my real quick out there. Red, black, purple, green. My favorite colors, just so you know. Trap Talk, man, this is sick. Look at this, guys. This is so hard. You got to be kidding me. Can you guys see that all right? Dogs, that is sick. There's my logo. And of course, what we all about right here. Trap Talk, baby. Fuck, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Mad love. mjexoticscartal. This is so sick. I swear to God, I hope I don't lose this. I'm going to take good care of this. Thank you so much, Brad and Marissa. Let me shout out your shirt real quick, too, because I got a shirt. So hold on. Man, I don't deserve this stuff. I swear. All right, so check out Sick Guy's shirt. Go give them a follow, please. Follow these people right now. I fuck with Canada heavy. Canada, thank you for all your support. And thank you to Empire Exotics. I'm going to go order my burrito now because I'm hungry. And as you guys know, I go to a taco shop after every single podcast and fucking decompress and think about how this is the coolest reptile podcast in the world. No competition at all. I hope you guys are ready because I have something amazing happening for episode 100. Okay. And I have one thing I fucking did not announce, but I do have a Trap Talk going down this Saturday. Okay. We have a Trap Talk dab, coffee and dab session with somebody very important. This guy right here is a huge part of the Trap Talk with MJ team. And when I say team, I will be traveling and doing shows at a lot of ball python or a lot of keepers facilities and whatnot. Okay. So with that being said, I do want to put my man on game with all of you guys because he is working with some amazing ball python projects. He keeps white lips. He has a crazy fucking group of super dwarf ticks that he's picked up from Garrett Hartle. He is the man. So definitely be ready to tap in with my man, Matt Summers of MSR Reptiles this Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Shit is going to crack off. And best believe that. Matt's my boy. And yeah, man, just be ready to meet him. And like I said, if you ever need to get a hold of me, hit me up on Instagram, mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. And make sure you guys follow the Trap Talk with MJ podcast Instagram as well. Would really mean a lot. Shout out to all my Twitch viewers out there. Thank you for tapping in. And again, if you out there are looking to support this podcast more than a subscription, please go down to the Patreon link. Come join the Patreon family. Come meet all my Patreon savages. Come see how they're working with their projects. You get first dibs on anything we're all working with. We all help each other out. So if you're like, fuck, I want help, the fucking kind of help I'm getting ain't legit. I'm getting runaround. I'm getting Bob Smith. Nah, we don't get Bob Smith at the Trap Talk Patreon page. So go down there, click on it, and I'll see you guys this Saturday morning. It's going to go down. Be safe. God bless all of you. MJ loves you. And Bob Smith, I hope you heal up soon because that, whole jealousy thing, it's going to make you go bald, really bald. It's going to make your dick shrivel a lot. I'm out.